I need to mute this site for myself.
Your
Hey guys, can you hear me
microphones
now?
are not working. Wait, I think we know, bro. Pot friend.
Anyone can hear me? No?
I don't think they can.
Nope. Okay.
Oh,
Wait, oh.
I'm just getting the echo there. Let's not do that.
So am I. Hold on. Well. Now we can hear? We can now?
Oh, hello?
Can they hear us? Hello.
Only Dio, apparently.
Hey guys.
Oh, we don't need to hear Dio anyway. We can just sit here and talk shit to chat.
Guys, can I get a dono wall in chat if you can hear me? Dono wall if you can hear me. Are we fixed?
Wait, do I need to like unmute on Rod Ninja?
Oh, nope. Everyone can hear all of
Dono
us.
wall. Let's
Hey,
go.
Everyone can hear all of us?
Let's go.
Okay, better.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Sounds good.
Now we can do
Shit,
the thing
I have to
again.
talk now.
Now we can do the thing again.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's time for OWC predictions. We are here with the OWC 2023 prediction stream. We do overall placements during this stream. I'm Dio. I think if I remember correctly, it's that way. To my left, or I guess on my right in the scene, T1G. He made the sheets for all of this, so thank you, Aaron. Welcome. Miles, Doomsday, and Shiv also here with us.
What's
Hey,
up?
Dio.
Hey everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna wait on confirmation that we are good to switch scenes and actually go over to the first team. But for anyone who hasn't been here before, basically what we do is we go down in alphabetical order, starting with all of the teams in order and going down all of the teams alphabetically one by one, and placing them based on where we think they're most likely to place in OWC 2023. Given all that, sometimes this is pretty hard. There's a lot of really good teams this year. It's going to be an interesting stream. People get ready for your Twitter screenshots and all that. So I think we are good to switch. I'm going to ping Kavo again to switch the scene because he is remote streaming. Again, technical difficulties. So we'll hopefully be good to go.
Ready for us to be wrong on half of these picks and get flamed on Twitter every other week?
I mean, that's the whole fun of this entire thing, though, right? Is like being wrong about stuff. Hey, wait,
yeah.
okay, is that the right order? I feel like that's not the right order, but whatever. We roll.
I think
That is.
think it is.
Argentina
Yeah.
is first.
No, because there's a AE, but it's fine.
AE.
We go Argentina first. AE is United Arab Emirates, I believe.
Oh. Well,
But it is chill. We'll get to them when we get to them. It might be alphabetized by country name instead of country code. So whatever, we're starting Argentina.
I think it's country name instead of country code, but that's fine. Not like it really matters all that much to begin with. Okay, Argentina. Old roster with Rico Amuro, Bo Milk, and they lost Zayden, Zeta, Gaston GL, Julian Kala, and Rouds, and now they have BTG4, Kagami, Payne, PP Poopoo 997 and Selena. I said it so you don't have to. So, what are we thinking, boys? Aaron.
These guys are always like fringe qualifying lately, I feel. I'm gonna be honest and say I am not familiar with their new players as much as I'd like to be. But I think this is like top 32, but possibly like 33rd or something.
I'm in the same boat where if these players play at their best, they very easily get like a 28 to 32nd seed, I think. But like Payne has been coming off of a long like streak of inactivity, and Amuro as well, very old players on this team. Not really sure if they're going to be playing at their best. But I do know that I think BTG4, that guy's a crazy D ranker, right?
Yeah.
He's a D ranker.
Yeah.
Always
he got to
trust him.
5K. He got to 5K and then he's like 8,600 or something already.
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
I played a
Wow.
tournament with it was a 3v3 team size 5 with me, Goat Stuck in Tree. We were the normal players. And then the other 3 players on our roster who could have 3v3'd the entire rest of the tournament by themselves were BTG, Hunsoccer, and X Kirito. And BTG was just as good as X Kirito in grand finals in that tournament.
Yeah.
Like the guy's pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty solid. That said, one player a team does not make. So I kind of have to agree they're like on the edge of qualifying. I think. Not really sure
Yeah.
exactly where to place them.
I had them as qualified this year because I feel like for me personally, this roster got a lot stronger, especially with BTG4 and Kagami joining. I think these are the 2 highlight players that I'm really interested in seeing how the other 3 players, like obviously Pain has been really good, but the newcomers Sona and PPPoo 997. So we'll see. And I think that Richo has gotten better as well as Bowmilk. Amuro, haven't seen them play in tournament recently, but I really feel like these guys have a shot at qualifying this year.
Yeah, I think they're on the cusp. Really, it's. I think it's one of those teams where it could go either way depending on how the day goes. Right. I think I echo your sentiments. Like Richo and BTG4 are players I've seen pop off. It's great. It's great to see Payne back. You know, you got to big up the OG players. You played in 2014 first time. That's like ancient history. It's great to see him back. I think it's a decent team. It's a hard one to call. I mean, I kind of want to err on the side of non-believing and say they might be like the team, 33rd, 34th sort of thing, because the lower teams are quite strong this year. But they could do it. I'm going to go do that. I wanted to prove me wrong, though.
Is the script working by now? Like, I don't think it shows up on the stream what we predicted.
Yeah, it is not showing up on stream what we're predicting.
Oh,
I'm
no.
just pinging Cavo about it right now. For reference,
clicked
we
D
have
and Q.
we have Chiv with 25th, 32nd, and then me, Doomsday Miles with DNQ, and Aaron has yet to hit a button, but I think we'll probably be putting them in DNQ. Again, this is like a edge of the qualifying sort of team, like 33rd type beat. But I think it's just going to be very close for them. I also think that this pool is not particularly good for them, specifically the hidden pool. I think they would do a lot better with Awkward Aim Hidden 1 that's not AR8 and some kind of other AR8 map, because as it is, I think their scores on the hidden pool are going to tank a little bit. So yeah, I think we're just going to try and troubleshoot exactly what's going on here. Just to see if we can get everything to show up.
A little bit of a soak. It's okay.
Little bit of a suck.
He's sorting stuff out.
Do you know Pain is like TFT challenger?
Is he
Is he?
actually? That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, I think he is. I'm pretty sure I saw something on Twitter about it. Like, it's actually crazy.
Hey,
Got a vision. Except Dio did. Oh, did Dio change them to 25th, 32nd? No.
Nope. That's just doubling Chivs, I think.
You got a nice mirror action going on with Chiv there.
Yeah.
All right. So are we just...
I'll change mine. I'll change mine. That way it works.
All right. Are we? All right. What's our consensus here? we need a consensus
just fell
here.
off of the
I mean,
screen.
just put them in DNQ. Put them in DNQ.
We're just gonna go
Yeah,
DNQ.
Two
Okay.
guys,
they're in
it's
DNQ.
Wait.
Yeah, it's
is
one
it-
of those unfortunate
is-
ones, I think, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see. They could
It
do
is not showing up on stream, but there is a flag in DNQ for them, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Mhm.
Aaron's is also DNQ. He should be DNQ and not 25 32nd. He's the very bottom one at Cavo.
This is
Ever so slightly
Going
scuffed. We'll figure
so
it
well.
out. Okay.
Hey, that's the fun of it.
Yeah, I think we can just move on to the next team. Let's just move on to the next one.
He's probably trying to fix it, but yeah, he can. Hopefully, he can fix it while we're on the next one.
Yeah.
Which I don't actually know what team it's going to be now, so I guess we're gonna have to find out.
Probably Australia if we're sorting by
Mhm.
team name instead of country code, which is a pretty interesting team to talk about. So
Oz is a really interesting team this year.
yeah.
Well, if we maybe
I don't know if I should
we'll
like
get there.
wave.
We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there.
Building up the tension.
A little bit of tension. In the meantime, yeah, Australia is gonna be yes. Go Aus. Okay. Australia is going to have a very new roster this year. They had a lot of subs out. There we go. Just
Ooh,
Dummy
yeah.
and Emrek from last year. Mavs, Vivace, Jordan LR7, Milo Milkshake, Suffix Arbuzin, all out, subbed in for AKNZX, also known as CS2, Sio, not the American, but the Australian Sio, JGLF, a Secret Box, who is back after a several-year break from tournaments, Oslash, and Zintex for this roster. I think this is a very, very good Australia roster for this year.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. I
kind
think
of busted, actually.
Yeah, like if people aren't paying attention, like compared to last year, like I think this is almost a complete upgrade. Namely, I feel like although Australia's last year roster has all the good tournament players, like these guys are really good in solo, like Milo Milkshake, Vivace, JLR7, and obviously Suffix. I feel like these new players are actually crazy tournament players. So if you really pay attention to ANZT, you can see Sio destroying Doomy. You have O Slash, the tiebreaker demon himself. You got JGLF, Breathing God. Like these guys are just so crazy. CS2 or Akin's NZX. Like this guy's also insane. Like these guys are really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this team is like potential for like best Australia result we've ever seen. Like this is top sixable. And I don't think that's like anything excessive.
Yeah, I think Oz has had a problem where they've always had like on paper extremely good teams, but they've never really had, I feel like, the tournament junkies that you'd really see in like top performing teams. And I think that these players that they're adding this year, looking at players like CS2, Sio, JGLF, O Slash, like those guys are tournament junkies. Like they're going to be grinding the map pool. They're going to show up to the matches no matter what. And that I think is going to have a ripple effect on the team. I think we're going to see really high motivation on this roster. I mean, you have the best tourney player in the world and a bunch of guys who are really eager to get a really good performance. That's why I'm going to put them at 5th to 6th. I don't know why it's showing 7th to 8th for me. I have not clicked the button yet.
I don't know if you've got my one. I pressed 7th to 8th, but yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
no,
This
you
team
have
is super
5th to
good.
6th.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got them swap, man. But yeah, it's super good team. Such good new tourney players. I mean, I think the Australia team, certainly previous years, a lot of those names are quite old. A lot of new blood, but yeah, some super good players. I think maybe a lot of teams may not quite might not know what to expect in terms of certain skill sets, but it's a good fucking team. I think 7th to 8th though, because I do rate some of the other teams, but they're going to be up there for sure. I think I'd be surprised if they flop on the earlier pools for sure with this team.
Yeah, this roster had a lot of very similar players playing in Corsace Open this year, and even without MREC Dummy on the roster, for example, they still looked really good. So I think 5th, 6th is not far flung at all, and I do think they can maybe do better because I think a lot of non-top 3, even the high placements in finals, are still really contested, but I think 5th, 6th is pretty good for them, and looks like we're mostly in agreement for that. So we can move on to the next team, which is going to be Austria.
He's back. Well, give it a sec. Wait for it.
There we go. I have to ping
Somebody is
Tavo
back.
because he has no sound, but I have pinged him. We are going to Austria. There we go.
There we go.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hello? I think Dio.
Hello?
Oh, there he goes. There he
Oh,
goes.
oh no.
Dio has fallen.
We
We've
This
lost
is
him,
going
chat.
so
lost our host.
swimmingly well.
But
Just gonna talk about Austria though. So yeah, like these guys are like have a couple new players in Z9A and Z10. I don't know what the name changes are, but these guys, I've seen the tournament results in like European tournaments only, and they do pretty well. I definitely think, like for me personally, the sheet isn't even updated, so I can't even put my vote yet. But these guys have like massively upgraded in every single position, and like having Firmus and Fedora Goose back as well as Neko Yase, like I think it's very possible that these guys still qualify.
Yeah,
I think they are better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are better, but I feel like a lot of the mid to lower teams have strengthened quite a lot though. I think they're better.
Yeah,
I feel like they
it's
might
really
fall short
hard.
though for top 32 though. I don't know.
Mhm.
What do you guys think?
I'm not really sure because I see this team kind of in a similar stance to like Argentina, where they have some old players coming back, as you said, Fedora Goose and Farmist, both where if they're both playing at their best, like this team could definitely like see maybe a 29 to 32nd placement in qualifiers. But like at the same time, like are they really gonna do that? I'm like not really sure about that. If they do, then that's great.
It's
I'm not
another
sure.
team that's like right on the bottom end, and I think unfortunately they don't have enough players to be not below the bottom end. So this is just probably a DNQ angle, but like kind of in that 33 through 35, 37 range.
Yeah, like I'm literally not going to be surprised when they qualify if they do. Like I think they can 100% do it. And yeah, I do think like everyone's gonna look at like the big players, obviously like Fedora Goose being like the original Austria player and Neko Yase being one of the highest ranked players, but I think people really need to look into Farmis because I think he's by far one of the most consistent players on this team at his peak form.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if they all turn up, they could do something. I say Austria's always been an exciting team to watch, especially in some of the earlier years. But they've always had some key players that do really well in OWC, and it's the fun matches to cast when they make it through because they have players that just show up at OWC. But they got to get through. They got to get through. Will they do it? I'm not too sure, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this is unfortunately a DNQ angle, but this is one where like when we revisit somewhere towards the end, it could maybe, depending on what our 25 through 32 ends up looking like, be like right on that line.
Yeah.
Hey, we've gotten word that Dio's internet has died.
Oh no.
We might be getting another user whose name starts with D to come.
Same
Oh my
guy
God.
to save the
being.
rescue this year. Same guy. Oh my god.
All right, well we get maybe Dada, but for now we're just gonna go DNQ Austria and probably go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, GG go next.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Unlucky.
is some team or other. Not sure who.
I believe it'll be
It's
Belarus next.
Belarus, yeah.
I think so. On to the bees.
Mm-hmm.
And while Cavo is still trying to fix things, so hopefully we get there.
Holding it
It'll
together.
Hope
get
everybody's having a great day. It's very cold and
Holy
rainy
cow.
here. It's really lovely weather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I say we're getting Dio back. Are
Sterling.
we pulling in the Brazilian man?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a long stream ahead of us, fellas. We are 38 minutes in, and we are on the 4th team.
Yeah, we're not making much progress, but that's okay.
Hey, here he is.
Look who it is.
Oh, there he is.
Wait,
Mr.
hello?
Dada
Dada,
in,
hello.
and hopefully we will have Belarus coming up so that we can briefly talk about them because we are taking a really long time.
Yeah, let's get moving.
Yeah, Dada, what do you got to say about Austria, bro?
I have one thing to say, and that is I love Fedora Goose, and I hope he qualifies, but I don't think they will.
Let's go. That's
All right.
That's
That's
you gotta
good.
like Fedora Goose. That's the opinion we want. No. Good start, mate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on to Belarus. We have.
Oh, here's Dio.
Wait, we have Dio back. All right, well we're gonna intro Belarus while Dio figures out whether his
Sayonara.
internet's working.
Thank you for
yeah,
your
hang on
wisdom,
one
Dada.
It is working.
Yeah, I guess it's
It is
working. Okay.
I'm back. Somehow.
All right, well, Dio's back, so we now have Dio. Dada's Dio, Dio's Dada. Anyway, Belarus, Cortazar, Visteri, Flover, 1SS, Tamaz Pro, Nuo, and they had Vudek 666 and Lopij replaced with Mudek, Burnish, and Zaver K. They got 47th last year. I don't really foresee them doing all that much better this year because there isn't the tournament experience on this team. So this is like a hot, quick DNQ for me.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree. Cool to see him back though. Second year. Last year was their first year, right? They're back again. So yeah, I still think they're going to be one of the DNQ teams. Yeah, they're not strong enough, unfortunately, but surprise me, please. I'm begging.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'd love to see a new team make their way into the tournament, but unfortunately not sure about this year.
Yeah, I think like if they had like I forget what his name was, but they had like a really old tournament player, that was really active. That was really good, like 3-digit range. Maybe I'm thinking I'm not too sure who it was, but he's not playing. And I feel like the only name I can say recognize the captain Cortazar and Temazi Pro is like 4-digit signups, but that's pretty much it. Like I think it's gonna be rough for them to qualify. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Easy
it's Blazink.
consensus.
It is Blazink. Yeah, that's the player.
Oh yeah, Blazink. Yeah.
Yeah,
That guy's been gone for a while.
but he's definitely not
yes.
playing.
Play a few good tournaments with him.
Mm-hmm.
I believe
Okay.
next,
Moving-
Belgium, right?
Yep. Let's go ahead and put Belarus in the DNQ and move on to should be Belgium. Yes, Belgium's an interesting one.
I think they're making it this
yeah.
year. Belgium, I think at long last they've gotten a new spawn. They have this player named Mornis, and he is the best player ever. Let me tell you.
Yeah, Mornis is kind of cracked. He's kind of cracked. He's got some crazy reading on him. Played with him multiple times. He played last year, right? But he's a lot better this year, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and then sorry.
What's up? No, go for it.
Yeah, Belgium has always been a team where they've been like between seed like 30 and like 35. But with Mortis playing as he is, that's what's really, I think, selling it for me, having them go 25th through 32nd. Obviously, though, the expectation is going to be for their older players to play as well as they can. Once again, though, like Hanori, they need nuclear actions from Hanori as well, I think, to qualify.
Absolutely. And me personally, I have a lot of confidence that these guys will qualify this year. I do think Monas has improved tremendously, but I also think people need to be looking at players like Hexaki, and Metabi coming back is also really big. Like, he is really good at his prime, I think. And this combination of, Hanori, Hexaki, 5 Yoshi, Monas, and Metabi. The other 3 players are also pretty good, but I'm a little worried about the skill cap on the 7-star qualifier. I still think they'll be able to do it. And we'll see if they can take a match off, especially on early stage. But I could see it definitely from these guys.
Yeah, not much else to add. I think this is going to be a qualifying year for them. I do think it'll still be close, but I'm looking forward to seeing them hopefully qualify.
Yeah, I think they're on the right side this year, I think. Again, it's in a similar boat to a team kind of like Argentina, but I think Belgium are a bit stronger than Argentina. So, yeah, I think they might do it. Fingers crossed.
I'm in a weird spot where I actually think I have them not qualifying on my pick'em on HaloWatcher's site, but now that we're having this discussion, I'm kind of thinking about changing it because, yeah, being right on that edge is tough, but I think I'm on the correct side of it actually after hearing the discussion.
Yeah, I was on the edge as well, to be honest. It was one of the teams where I find it really hard to call, but you've convinced me, I think.
We have graphics.
Let's go. Look at that
Graphics.
production.
Oh my God.
Let's
I'm
go.
still not sure if
Cavo.
me and Doomsday are still swapped, though.
Yeah, I think we've.
I think they
mine's
fixed it
still
earlier. He fixed it earlier.
Oh, no, I clicked on Doomsday's earlier, and it showed up on me, and that's why I think you think it was fixed.
Oh,
I tell you what, I'm Miles and you're Doomsday. Okay, I'm just
All
gonna
right,
click your
there we
button.
go.
Also, the flag is not updating on the overall tiers thing for some reason, even though it is there on the back end. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
We'll see how it goes. Okay, on
right, next.
to our next team. It is Brazil.
All right,
BR.
Brazil
Dada,
is like one of the weirdest teams this year because they don't even wait. Do they not even have 8 people? Oh no, it's just organized really. What the heck? What did he do with this? Anyway, I've never heard of multiple people on this year's team, and the old guard of Brazil is basically completely gone, right? Except for Korean Moloko. All the people that were on in the teams that were relatively successful a few years ago are completely gone. I still obviously they still have players that are good enough to qualify, and they still have players that are good enough to win.
Dio has disappeared again.
Why have I disappeared? What?
Over
I think
the
it's just
cameras is gone.
camera.
I'm still here. My camera's still
God.
up on video, but I've disappeared for some reason.
I blame Cavo. Everything is Cavo's fault today, guys. Sorry, Cavo. That's just how it's gonna go. Anyway,
Okay.
I think Brazil is like kind of in last year's position. It's like somewhere 13th, 16th, or maybe like 16th through 20 or 17th through 24th. It's like in that vicinity.
I mean, I think Ikoria Maliko is an OG. They've still got Zubs though, Tusk, who I'd consider part of the OG Brazilian lineup. Who I don't know. I've never seen him have a bad year. Been there a few years, but yeah, a lot of new players, a lot of new blood, which I haven't seen too much of either. I don't know. They lost a couple of really strong players, but they still got a really good core. They've got the Defons twins now.
Yeah, I think that kind of surprising. What's up?
Yeah, I think they're still a decent team, although I think they're probably not as strong as they were. They're still pretty good. They'll be comfortably qualifying, I think, and should be in good stead for the first couple of rounds, no doubt. So,
Yeah, I'm a little surprised nobody's really mentioned the Fonz. I think at his prime, this guy's easily one of the best players on this team. I don't know how I haven't seen him active in tournaments recently at all. but he's crazy. And same with both. I've seen people in the chat mention both Luhrmann and the other Defons with the 0 or main. These guys are really good for the rank range, both like 4-digit tournament players. And they both, I think, almost came close to winning. Well, I think actually Main actually won one of the Brazilian regionals, and Luhrmann came second. But these guys are crazy good, and I think that they're going to surprise a lot of people.
I think that the fact that you can have a map where you can put in Korean Maluko, Defons, Zubs, and fake Defons, like that core 4, I think, is going to be extremely strong for Brazil. I'm not too familiar with the other 4 on their team, but if they can play up to par, I think this team can easily get up to 13th through 16th, because everyone needs to remember Korean Maluko is one of the premier tourney players in this game. Don't ever try to deny it. He is, especially I think before semis stage. That guy's going to be one of the top performers. So be on the lookout for this Brazil team. Not really sure what to expect from them, but I think we all agree where this team could probably place.
Yeah, I mean, we all have the exact same placement. I think they're good. I think there's just so many ridiculous teams in OWC that being good doesn't cut it to, get in the top half, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they lose. So surely they
Yes.
win a game, if not in the first round in the losers bracket. I'd be surprised if they don't do that.
Absolutely.
All right, so Brazil 17-24. Nice.
Yup.
Next is
I believe, please.
Cambodia.
Cambodia. Debut for Cambodia. First time in OS World Cup. Go Cambodia. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of any of these players, and if you think they even have a snowball's chance in hell of qualifying.
Yo, my bad, guys.
I mean, that's just kind of
I've
how
never
it is
heard
for
of a
new
single
teams,
person on
right?
this team. I'm sorry, Cambodia. I apologize.
Yeah, that's just how it be for new teams, right? Like, you have 6 players, you have the minimum number of players to participate in OWC, and as far as I know, none of these people are like open rank tourney players. So I think it'd just be like that.
I'm sure they played 1 year before, right? Is this
Yeah, they played apparently they played qualifiers a couple years ago. I don't know. I did all this by like 2022. I didn't go back in country histories when I was doing the back end stuff that I did.
Okay.
So if a team
Fair.
didn't play last year and like we aren't aware of them having played previously, maybe it didn't get fixed or whatever. But
Gotcha.
Sorry guys. Sucks to suck. It's just a skill issue and a lack of player base issue.
Always hope for the best for these newer teams. I haven't seen them play before. I heard they played in 2021, but like, just get that experience going. Maybe play some community tournaments through the year, and hope for a spawn to come your way next year, as we all do.
Also, does anybody know why their country code is KH?
No idea.
No idea.
All right.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah, help us out with that one.
Okay.
Next.
On to the next one. It's everyone's it's 2 of our favorite North American nation, Canada.
Well, Chiv's got to lead this one off once we get the team up. This is all Chiv all the time.
All you, Kevin, all you.
Oh,
Go on,
God.
hit us up with the pride. Go on.
All right. Well, everyone already knows where I'm putting these guys. I'm putting them third. I think that this year their roster, like, although I love the previous players, like these guys have gotten crazy good this year. And if you look at the 3 new players on this team, Vestspirit, Stoof, and Cuppaver. So Vestspirit already played in the past, and Stoof as well. Like, these pools this year will immensely, like, no bias intended, but I think these players are really versatile for what they need to do, and they add so much to the team. It's like, you need to pick Gimmick, but they have Franklin and Vestspirit on the team with Cuppaver. You need to pick Speed, but they have Curtis and Stoof and Ryan and Jay. Like I don't even know where you pick into these guys. Like, you can pick Tech and the Yip as well. Like, you're just losing, and picking AIM obviously is an option as well. So, like, it just, like, these guys look so good on paper. They had the skill set to play this year. I think that 3 new players are amazing additions, and I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, always. I think the thing with the Canadian roster is they've been established as like one of the OWC juggernauts now for a few years. Probably like 4 years, actually. They've been getting like consistently top 8, top 6 even. But I think this year it's more of a problem of who are they going to beat out of the teams that you would put top 4. That's the thing, because Canada, as good as they've been, they haven't really had a good track record against top teams. Like, I can't name a time where they've really beaten, like, a South Korea, a United States, even a Germany. They lost to Poland last year. Like, they really need that win up against, like, a top tier team. And with the stiff competition this year, I don't know if they're going to do that, but still, love them to prove me wrong. Gotta rep the North American buddies, but top 5 and 6 is where I think I'll put them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
pretty much echo that sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah. I just like they don't beat USA, they don't beat Poland, they don't beat South Korea, they probably don't beat Germany. Therefore,
my brain says 5th, 6th. My heart says 4th. I'm gonna put 4th.
The Canadians here.
I want Canada to do better, but yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with Aaron. Like, I think top 3 is very hard for them, and I think 4th is difficult but doable. Put it that way.
if they get
if
God,
I'm
if they
following
get
my
God
brain-
bracket, if they get God bracket, like
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah,
always that's always like the
100%.
question. Is like, who do they match up with in semis?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's going to be an interesting year for Canada. I think some of these players have the potential to like really pop off, and sometimes they don't do as well as I think they probably could on some maps. So I think a lot will depend on how well they play on the day and what happens for them. I think they definitely have the potential to get 3rd on a really good run, but I think most of the time they're probably 5, 6. My heart says 4th, so I'm putting that up for now. But it seems like we're majority putting them 5, 6. So that's where they'll be.
Yeah, I'd agree. I haven't got too much to add really on that one. They're just a super good team, so well rounded. They have enough players where they can pick and choose the best players of the year and just build a super good team. Even if they remove some players that you would have looked at and thought, no Persian, no Nick, those players are super good, but they've just got so much talent. There's so much talent, and they cover everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a run and go top 3. They could do it. It just depends on how they do against the teams we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Really.
They need to beat a top team, I think, to get to top 3, and
Yeah.
they haven't done that ever. So I hope they do that.
Well, since 2020 was the year that they got 3rd. It's been a little bit. Okay, on to the next one, which is Chile.
All right, Dio, all you. Are you gonna jinx it again?
Dio the Chile
All you,
truther.
Dio.
Dio the Chile truther.
I am never forgetting. No one's ever forgetting that, huh? Intercambing Yuna Gonza, number 37, Chalk Gamer, Mochaccino, Pancho, and Unable subbed out for Matthew, TFGE, and Suntan. Chile's roster is way better this year than last year. Like Mochaccino, Pancho, and Unable were is just not it. Matthew, TFGE, and Suntan are all really good players compared to what they have had previously, and I think they're going to have a pretty good run this year. That said, the rest of the pool got like I don't know what happened this year, but wait, never mind. Wooting happened. But everyone else just got like way better. There's a lot of really good teams this year, so I struggled to put them top 8. But I think 9-12 is like very good for this team with Matthew back and with a lot of really good supporting players. TFGE is also like one of the best players in the country, full stop. So I think their roster is just way better this year than it was last year.
I was hovering top 8 for these guys for quite a while when I was setting up my list, and they got bumped down pretty late on, to be honest, because this team has such an amazing core. I do think big teams can poke holes in them and find weaknesses, but against anything but the top teams, this team is so good. And the players they've added are incredible players. I mean, Matthew, come on, TFG is fantastic.
Yeah, I think I'm similar in like I don't know. It's so hard to put this team top 8, but any lower than top 8 feels wrong because the roster is so good. It's really hard to
literally this team has so much depth. Like genuinely every single player on this roster has like the ability to make a difference in a match. And also, I need to tell you guys, no 37, that guy, like very sleeper, is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 hidden players in this tournament if he plays up to his potential. Like this guy is unreal. Chiv, you remember 4WC, Night of McDonald's. This guy FC'd the worst map in the game. Like, this guy is insane at gimmick. And other than that, like, you have your star players in Intercamping and Matthew, and then everyone else does their job. So I think this team could poke into top 8, but obviously you have to put them 9 through 12 to start because there's so many good teams.
Yeah, I think even actually before I would have had them 9-12 as a lock if they kept their first roster iteration where they had Willow. But I think adding Yunhe is going to actually be able to push them up into top 8 if they play really well. I think Yunhe has been playing extremely well recently, and I'm excited to see how he does in this tournament as well as the rest of the team. Obviously, everyone's already talked about players like Maffy, TFG, Inner Camping, NO37. Like the rest of the roster is also really good. So we'll see how it goes.
By the way, I can't be having this slander against Knight and McDonald's, Mars. What the hell?
Okay, I'll be honest. I'm usually one of the guys who supports that map. I think it was a great map pool pick, and it was extremely funny. But it is
Everyone
so
hated it. Literally,
that
everyone
map
hated
is
it.
so stupid.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay, we got to move on to the next one. It is going to be China. The infamous FIA run last year, so disqualified in 2022, but they were a really, really good team. And they assumedly made some upgrades this year. David Q2, Crystal, Milk Tea, and Kurumi, also known as Lolol 233, 234, 235, and Crystal. My Angel Anzu from last year as well. And then with Mid C, Survivor X4, and Z Numbers instead of Joseph Joestar, Maki, and Fia. I gotta knock them for removing Joseph Joestar from the roster, honestly. I mean, that's
I don't
just,
think he tried
Of
that.
course.
it's just unfortunate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Down one
This-
Jojo, unlucky.
This
I
is
think-
just another like somewhere between 9 to 16 roster though, right? Like
Yeah.
if David, Crystal, Milk Tea, and Kurumi get good pools for them, then it's like top 12. And if they don't, or if they underperform at all, it's like top 16. I feel like that's just the make or break is like how well do those guys play and how well do the pools suit them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I say that on early pulls, they're going to be so hard to beat. Like I say, if they end up, for some reason, dropping a ball in qualifiers, which I really can't see it happening, and they get some scary team in the early rounds, you could see an upset happen. But you do wonder what happens when you get to the later rounds and you see those
keep that
higher seeded
Miles.
matchups with this team. They're going to put up a fight, but are they strong enough? Maybe if they pop off. I don't know. I have a hard. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you underestimate this team at your peril, but I'd agree with you guys on this one on the placement.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone's all talked about the old guards or like the top players for a while, but I'll highlight the 3 new players. So there's Mid C, who's going to be really good, up and coming, like 3-digit level. Like this guy actually like has gained like 10,000 ranks in the last like 4 months. Like he's actually crazy. He's been really consistent overall, like low SR, and I think he has the skill cap for higher SR stuff. For people who don't know Survivor X4, really good leaderboard player. Leaderboard isn't like playing like unknown maps and like getting like rank 1s and 2s on like literally just like skill cap stuff. And he's also really good. And obviously Z Numbers, people already know how good this guy is. He's one of the most consistent players on this team for early stage. I think people should be really scared of him. And he's also one of their speed foes now, as Joseph Joestar is not making it or not playing this year.
I think people need to remember that this has been the model that China has been doing for like 3 years now, where you roll out Crystal and the 3 Lolols, and then the rest of the 4 players fill in where they are the most useful. And they have been pretty successful at that. So I think, yeah, 9 through 12, pretty good placement for them. But, you know, overperformances can take them up, underperformances can take them down. But I think this team, like, consistently should fall between like 8 and 16 no matter what.
All right. Seems like we're all pretty much in agreement. So 9-12 for China. And we'll move on to the next team. At Kiva. I've
Which
cleared
is
the pits.
some team or other.
There we go. We're on to Colombia.
Carlos Flow!
Unfortunately, no
Hello.
Elmix. No Elmix again for Colombia this year. I don't know. They're slacking on the
I think
Elmic
they name
games.
changed away from Elmics. Like the Elmics
Yeah.
are not all Elmic anymore. They're like back to whatever.
It's a
It's
thing of
old
the
me
past.
now.
It's very sad. Ninter 4 is back. 501, 312, Black Astro, Schwartz, J1X, Okinari, Carlos Flo, and Yowari subbed in for Nelicia, Jekaru, Aether, and Rushi, respectively. They were 50th last year, so improvements to the roster have to be pretty incredible for them to qualify. And while the roster did improve, I don't think it's by enough. I'm not going to lie.
Like Carlos might need to get 900k average in the qualifiers.
No, they need 4 Carlos Flows on the roster, I think.
Yeah,
With
I don't
4
think there's
Carlos Flows
anything that they
qualifiers,
can do.
they're
Sorry.
Mhm. Good player though, but yeah, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ninta's played quite a few OWCs now. OG. Love to see him qualify at one point, but I don't think it's this year. Sadly, teams are too good this year.
All right. Easy consensus DNQ. Sorry, Colombia. Good luck. I wish you the best, but it's a next team angle.
It's a next team
Which is
angle.
Croatia.
They're back.
They didn't have a team last year?
I guess not.
Didn't realize that.
They had a
If they-
4-man. Okay, never
Wait,
mind.
if they didn't have a team last year, how do we have roster info from them? That must be from 2021?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was
can check the
2021 they
information
last
sheet.
played, if I remember right. But not last year, so a little break, but they're back. They're back. The fart lord has returned. Carlixian's returned as well.
Yeah, I mean, Carly's on is like very good, but it's just a very shallow roster past that, and they don't even have 8 people. And I feel like somebody should check: has a team with under 8 players ever qualified?
Probably like way back in the old days.
No, there weren't qualifiers back then. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like, in the qualifier
Surely
era.
must have done like once, surely.
They
but I couldn't
did
tell
play
you
last
the
year,
team.
actually. They did play in 2022, so I suppose that result is
Oh.
supposed to be DNQ and not
Ah.
DNP. But yeah, they did not qualify, and well, the roster improvements are, it's a Columbia angle.
Sadly. I have a couple of decent players though. Just let's say not enough depth for this tourney. Not for top 32.
Unfortunate.
All right.
Next one's a curious one though. Actually, next team, I believe it's the Czech Republic, isn't it? It's Czechia.
Mhm. Also,
Yeah, should be Czechia.
there was a team in
Yeah.
4WC that qualified as 7 players this year. It was Saudi Arabia. And they had like
Oh.
some really insanely good players on that team to qualify.
I did not know they qualified for that. That's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, they went 0-2, but it's okay.
Yo, shout out to Sigmund Fraud. What a name change that is.
That's a crazy
Yeah.
username.
Yeah.
That's a
Look
really
forward to
good
casting
username
that.
from Neshby.
This might be #1 team for usernames. They have Sigmund Fraud and LeBron James on the
Yep.
roster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Steve
And-
gift card, but he name changed back.
Oh no.
No.
Oh,
And #1 for team reveals as well. Do the knockout of the park straight up. And this team's a pretty good team, honestly. They're a very solid team overall. I think they've lost a few good players though. Like those names they've dropped were pretty. I'd say they're fairly key to last year, but they've got some good names in. Vilaz is back, who stands out to me as one of the new players they've added. But the rest of the new players, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't heard much.
I feel like with like if they had Mr. Nobody and Vilaz on this team, and they had like Avenido, like it's an easy qualify, but like they're just missing so many of the top players here. Where it's like I want to put these guys in qualify so badly. You don't understand. Like these guys are the boys, but like I'm thinking about it right now.
It's tough. Just like missing those few players, just like, one of those teams like just on the outside looking in, like see them landing at like 35th seed after quals, but I'm just not sure. Like looking at this roster, like definitely have it in them, but they're gonna need some nuclear performances, I think, from Mr. James himself and Vilaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a 33 to 40 team. Also, I think they're like among the best non-qualifying teams, basically, because I think some of the other teams that are going to qualify are just straight up better, despite Neshpi's best efforts probably during the qualifiers. He's definitely going to have to put on some pretty big carry pants, but they might need a second Neshpi to qualify.
For sure. This is another country that just suffers so much from like the missing players. I know somebody else mentioned Shutterstock is not in here. Obviously he got banned. I mean that guy got unbanned, but that guy would have made it on the team and easily been like a driving force. Bloodbursting also not been playing the game in general for a while.
Thank you.
So like
But yeah, Pogger CZ. Is that did he name change?
Yeah, Pogger CZ is Sigmund Fraud, right?
Is that Sigmund Fraud? Oh yeah.
He's their like strongest overall tournament player on the team.
I forgot that guy existed.
Even if I put 25 to 32, like they're not even qualifying anyway. Like we will not overall vote them as qualifying, but I'm gonna do it. So like, because like these guys are the boys, I gotta wrap it.
God,
I gotta have faith.
All right,
have faith. I think they'll do it. Just about, but I think they'll do it.
Yeah, Aaron's is not updated.
Yeah, mine's supposed to be DNQ. So it's 3-2 DNQ. So unfortunately, the DNQ is winning this, but it's like right on the edge. So
I mean, that's kind of how we think about them, right?
Yeah,
It's like right
yeah,
on the edge.
yeah.
So
Well, we can return if we need to, but I'm gonna leave them in DNQ for the moment, and if we need to change it, we can change it.
Mhm.
The right side
And
here
it's
is the
a go
hopeful
next.
side.
Yeah, I think people also didn't know that Mastox is also a name change. It's Steam gift card or MMBVCXY 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and he's also really good.
Oh wait,
I'm gonna put
they have
them.
Steam gift card. Okay, yeah, this
Steam gift
team
card.
might have to change this team, honestly. Like that's a
Oh
good
my
roster
God.
still. I forgot Sigmund Fraud was a Neshpi and Masox is
Just we can talk about it after we don't have a team qualifier. We can put them in afterwards.
Yeah. True.
There's
true.
always some after discussion. Okay, on to Denmark. Paule Katberger, Iamville, Mahisuru, Zazas, Marco Pollo. 2 new players, Van Dabe and Toilet Player subbed out for Soba the One and Malak. Last year they were 17-24.
Good team.
Yeah,
good
they're
team.
Yeah, they're just like a consistent like top kind of top 24-ish roster. I feel like pretty much year in year out.
I think like my opinion of this team is like the roster strength didn't change and every other team got stronger. Like I don't think these guys like in my opinion both the best 2 players, Paul and Katberger, like they haven't really improved too much. Where it's like I think these guys are like easily just like 1v9 in time match. Like they could still FC most of the maps. I don't think it'll change enough that they'll get like higher than 25 to 32nd for me.
Yeah,
No,
I reckon they'll win a
Pablo.
game.
Same sentiment from me. I mean,
Oh my God.
when you have like their core, you kind of have to qualify with like Pole, Katberger, Vil, like those 3, so well rounded, so strong. They're just going to be able to carry weight, a lot of it.
Yeah, I think this is like the best 25-32 team. I can easily see them winning a match, but I can just as easily see them going 0-2 after qualifying. I think they qualify 100%, but I don't know if they win a match. They were 17-24 last year, but yeah, I just agree with Shiv. Like the roster didn't get stronger, and everybody else did.
That's
That
true.
was
That's
just
true.
really
I think
funny.
the players that they've got though have. I don't know. I think some of the players have done a lot better in the last 12 months. Paul is broken. Katberger is super good. Iamville still very solid. They might lack. I guess they can be poked out on certain skill sets. I think in a 4v4, but I think they have enough to beat someone in this tournament. Like even if they lose the first game and then the closer second match, I just feel like they have the tournament nous to get through in a matchup like that. I think they'll win one somewhere.
Okay.
I have faith. I have faith.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, they're going 25-32 for now. We'll see if we need to make any adjustments later, but that's where they're going for now. So go ahead and put them there and move on to the next team, which should be Estonia as the next team up. This year's roster, Cedru, Ansenth, Femcel, Makux, Revo, Slay, and then Blorgan Abyssal subbed out for Sleeping Kukiji and Tomex. I'm putting them DNQ specifically so I don't have to cast the username Femcel.
Dude, Sleeping Cookie G is also an insane username.
Yeah, that is
You know what that's
actually pretty good
referencing?
name.
You know the clip that's referencing?
No.
Nope.
It's the Yaka meetup where Angel Sim records Cookiesy sleeping and just says Cookiesy sleeping. Like he just
Oh my
puts the
God.
camera up in his sleeping face. Like that's what that's referencing. That is an insane username. But yeah,
Hmm.
I put this team as
That is
another
some
one of the
deep
teams
lore, dude.
outside looking in, where they have the good players, Cedru and Senth, Revo, pretty good as well, but just not sure if they can really like push into the top 32.
Yeah, this is. I feel like the way OWC has progressed is such that there are a load of teams that are like right on the edge of qualifying now, and this is just another one of them. I think they're going to be on the outside looking in again, unfortunately, but it's another one where like if they got like 31st in qualifiers, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. It's like if they didn't qualify last year, I don't see how they'll qualify this year. You know, like their roster like stayed in the same level of strength, if not a little weaker without Abyssal. I don't really know how good that is anymore, but like every roster is just like way like stronger. It's the same case of Denmark. Is like these guys didn't change in strength, but everything else got better around them. So like I don't know, it's hard to argue.
Yeah, they're playing right now, by the way. As of 10 minutes ago, OWC has officially started. First qualifier
Oh,
team.
they're in.
They're in. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for Estonia. We got them in the DNQ hopefully soon here. And then we'll move on to our next team, which will be Finland. Shaduz, Amacetic, Desku, Freezed, Zepe. And then, okay, that's not lined up, so I don't actually know who is new and who's not new on this one. I think Desku is new, because I seem to remember Shaduz is new, actually. I'm sorry. New captain, that's why. And then Jamin, Jadzax, Isaac, and Takanen out for Shaduz, Kalanlu, Nev, and Alirdi? I don't know. Unsure.
Yeah, this is a really hard team to rate. I had them at. I'm gonna put it right now. I had them at 7-24 for the longest time, but I was doing some discussion with some friends yesterday. I was like, we were debating over this and another team. It's like, again, another case of like, did this roster get any stronger? I think the highlight players, Amacetic, Freeze, Zepe, or Zepi, like these guys are by far the strongest three players, and it's like it's super reliant on them to do well. And I'm just worried that like and Desku are actually, but the rest of the team really needs to back it up, and they have their clear weaknesses and strengths. You know, they're good at hard rock, good at speed, but I don't know where the hidden players are on this team.
Yeah, I think that they've weakened. I think they've lost a couple key players. Kadzak's is a big hit. I think missing out on him. He was one of the important players. They've still got a very good core of players, but I think it's a definite little downgrade. I think they'll still qualify, but once they qualify, I wonder how they'll do in the head-to-heads against some of the other teams this year.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I am a believer in the Finnish roster. I think Amacetic, Freeze, and Zepe are extremely strong. If you haven't seen Colin Liu play in tournaments, he is very good on those gimmick skill sets as well. So, oh yeah, and Shaduz. I played one tourney with Shaduz earlier this year, and he's like a lot better than I think I ever thought he was. Like that guy, he can put in the work, especially in the early stages. So I'm a believer this team could win maybe a couple matches and losers, but not sure otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also give them one match. I think Kalanlu, Nev, and Allard are good enough to keep the roster about the same. Same for Shaduz. He is also very good. He's actually a really good reading player. Weirdly enough, I think he really made a name for himself on like hard rock flow aim streams, but honestly, he doesn't play a lot of that anymore, and he's mostly really strong at low AR reading. So I think it's actually a pretty good addition to the roster, along with Kalanlu, to kind of balance out a lot of the mechanical skill that players like Amacetic, Freeze, and Zapay bring to the roster, and helping them round that out a little bit, I think is enough to keep them in the same tier and keep them 1 and 2 overall.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point, actually. Adding versatility actually is a fair point, especially in the early rounds. Ooh.
Like
I'm gonna keep my 25th to 32nd, but I'm not too sure about it now. To be honest, they bring that up. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna go 7-24 for our overall prediction anyways right now, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is going to be it for Finland. We will move on to the next team is France.
Big one.
Big
Yeah,
one. France
big
is
team.
good.
Yeah, it was a good team. 9-12 last year. Musty, Hifkill, Akoro, Mbappe, also known as Just Man, Flaste, and then Vroom, Thunder, and Phils Delama are out for Flavin, Charlie, and Fie. So this is a interesting set of substitutes. I think the name value of the previous 3 players is a lot higher than the name value of the new 3 players, but I also think the new 3 players are still really good anyway. So interesting team swaps.
Charlie finally gets his chance.
It's really interesting to me.
Charlie.
Like the entire French community like lobbied to get Flavin's in-depth tournament ban removed, and I guess this is why. I don't know anything about how well he's actually playing though.
Yeah. I don't know.
So at this point, he's a veteran, but yeah, I'm not too sure if he plays well, because he's a very solid player. But if he's playing well, then yeah, and yeah, I think they've added some strong early game power as well. Fie and Charlie there will be great in the early rounds, and they've got enough strength as well to do well in like the mid rounds, semis, quarters if they get there. So it's a hard one to call. I think they'll be just fine though. 13th to 16th. Did I put them there? I think I did.
I think it's like the roster, like I don't think it lost too much strength. I mean, like you look at these big names on France. Like I actually think Thunder is Rumo did okay last year, but Thunder was the most active player. But like Charlie and Fie are really good still in 4-digit community tournaments. But it's like I don't know if that's enough to push them back to where they are. Like all the other teams just look like they got like a huge like obvious upgrades where it's like these side grades is like kind of rough to discuss, I think.
Yeah.
I'm a believer in this team. I think Ikoro, being who he is going to be able to pull a lot of weight. I can say that having been carried by him multiple times. And I think very, very quietly, I was mentioning this before the stream, Flaste is extremely good. Not too many people know this, I think, but that guy, I think, is going to be their star player this year. And I think they have a really definitive core with Ikoro, Mbappe, and Flaste going to be able to pull a lot of weight. And as Chiv said, I'm a believer in Charlie and Fie. Not sure how Flavin's going to do coming back. I remember all the stuff around him years ago that I don't think it's worth bringing up, but I'm just a believer in this team, you know? That's all I have to say. Sometimes that's all you need.
Be cool to see France get a really good run. It feels like they've, I mean, whether it's been unlucky or underperformed in years gone by with crazy rosters, I just want to see them pull a late stage run, man. I'd love to see it. They could do it.
It's one where like they can perform well, but I don't know that they'll perform well. So I'm like content leaving them at 13th through 16th, but they can definitely overperform that.
I mean, France is always a team where we kind of have question marks on exactly how well they'll do, even if the roster looks really good. It feels like it's been that way at least for several years in a row. Hopefully that is all fixed for them. I do really hope that's all fixed for them because I've seen what their players can do outside of OWC, and they all look really, really good. So for Team France to not do well in OWC seems like a real shame. That said, I kind of agree with the side grade thing. It's just like everybody else got a lot better, and there are a couple of, I think, newer additions to top 8 that are really, really good compared to previous years, like Australia, for example, that makes it harder to put France at the same spot. So.
Oh yeah, Musty's back. That guy's been playing OWC for like 10 years. It's crazy.
Musty's back again. All right, Germany.
Ooh. Yo, this
Here we
is
go.
such a big one this year, man. They
Here
changed
we
out
go.
so much of their roster.
Yeah.
I feel like Germany roster changes are always just side grades, though. Like, as long as they keep Kriller around, it's like everybody else is just kind of going to be at similar levels. That being said, I've heard nuts things about these, like, the new guys. Like, Yari is apparently just the GOAT, and everybody shits on me when I say I've never heard of him, but whatever. I have a big question mark, which is like, is Whitecat actually going to exist? Because I feel like he is their all-around late-stage skill cap player, right? That's the reason they've done well in some of the past years, and he's been kind of just declining, right? So it makes Germany a big question mark.
The thing with Germany is, like, yeah, I've heard a lot of these players, and I've seen them do very well. The thing with Germany, though, is I know it's hard to get into this team. You look at the team, well, players they've lost, and you think, wow, they've lost Shark, they've lost Smarty, they've lost Rising. These are core players. Then it must have meant that the players that have replaced them are really good, because you don't walk into the Germany team, right? There's a reason these guys are here. I still think this is a super good team. I still think they're pushing top 4, even with the roster. I think they'll do it. The question is, Whitecat. Will Whitecat show up, especially in the early rounds? Will he put the time in? Will he perform well enough to get in those clutch matches in, like, quarters, semis? If he does, I think they'll be pushing top 4.
I have some insider information, obviously being one of the map poolers, and I think that this pool is not going to treat this team very well. I think this overabundance of speed on this team is just not it for the players that will be in this tournament this year. And I'm also worried that I think a lot of these players are just simply not motivated compared to the other teams that have at the top. I think, like, unironically, the most motivated player might be Zyfrost. And I have a huge faith in him and Shiox to do well as like the 2 forwards that came in. I really do think that during team selection, them sacrificing players like Semi and Vundi is really going to damage this team. And I think that it's a big mistake. And that's why I have them at 7th to 8th.
I think that none of us are going to question at all that if those top 3 players on their team play at their highest potential, they are going to get top 4. Like, me and Chiv putting them at 7th and 8th is not questioning that at all. We just, as I said, I'm a believer in like a team like France. I'm just not really a believer in Germany. I mean, Whitecat, like, not qualifying for MGC, like, just generally not really being like present in tourneys at all throughout the year. Like, if he comes up, if he practices the pools, if he like puts in the work, Like, this
Yeah.
guy is going to be one of the best players, like he always is. But is he going to do that? I'm not sure. And then after that, I just agree with Tiv.
we always kind of question during the year, but like it never really ends up mattering. He always ends up showing up for OWC and playing pretty well. And to boot, like I haven't seen Kriller in a lot of big tournaments this year either, but we're not putting up that question mark for him. Okinama just doesn't play tournaments, but he always comes back year after year after year and is really, really good. And as Dooms was saying, like you don't get onto the Germany roster for nothing. This is a team that has been competing for first for the last 3 years in a row. So I think they are going to still be really good regardless. And I guess we're just moving on. We're going to
Whoa.
to the next team.
Okay, that was
I
fast.
guess we're just
I guess we
moving
didn't
on.
need to finish
Cool.
this conversation. Okay, well.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, all valid
I-
points. It's just like I'm just a little bit jaded on how this roster has fanned out in the last few years, so that's why I'm rating them a little bit below. But yeah, definitely Germany powerhouse.
And like just to clear that, close that, like I think the grouping between like 4th and like 9th or 10th is so tight this year. There's a lot of good teams that aren't amazing. But yeah, next up Hong Kong in high key downgrade. High key downgrade. No Suwagi is like just the biggest one, and then RLSC, who actually was like low key instrumental in a lot of just like combo game stuff that Hong Kong did. Yeah, they have Xian A21, F2X, like MCY4 and stuff, but the newcomers are yeah.
People don't want to see what I have at 13 to 16 right now. Like I'm here to stir the pot right now. But there's a team I have that you guys will see later that I have up on this team. And I think that personally, I think this team is gotten a downgrade in a lot of slots. I think if they had Suragi, it'd be easy like 7 to 8 for me. But I feel like I've literally not seen half the new players play. Like, and I feel like people are underestimating how much ROSC and Nezar and I already do for the team last year. And like it's just going to be interesting. We'll see.
I think they just lost a lot of depth, and that's really the thing for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
I
mean,
feel like
clearly
I'm
we all
just-
think they got worse. So
Yeah, I feel like I'm like a bit ignorant of some of the new players. I say they could surprise me, but I'm just not sure whether they can do what some of those players they've lost can do. So I'm in total agreement. Still a great team, but not quite as strong as last year. Still a very good team though. You don't get 13th, 16th for being mugs.
Yeah, always. I mean, Hong Kong just very strong tournament country across all rank ranges. Like, even if you don't know some of their newer players, I'm sure they're going to be really good because Hong Kong is a country that has good tourney players always. So just be prepared to see them, I think.
okay.
All right, for some reason, neither team that I have in 13th through 16th is showing up on the stream, but we're gonna put them there, and we're gonna go next to Hungary. 44th last year. They kept 6 of the same players: Lexion, Glasswave, Gexiboti, Gamanoid, Defi, Blackpoint. They replaced 2 players I've never heard of with 2 other players that I've never heard of, and they're just gonna be in kind of a similar spot again, I think.
I mean,
Few OG names on this team, but yeah, I'd agree. Again, I just don't think they'll have enough for top 32 with a similar roster to what they have. They're going to fall short, I think.
He's really good. I think that Defi is like by far the strongest tournament player on this team. And these guys usually form like complete 4-digit rosters of Hungary players. They usually do okay, but yeah.
I don't really have much to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not much to say.
DNQ Hungary. See ya. Goodbye. Hopefully overall tiers will get fixed, by the way, but we go next team and maybe Cavo can fix it while we're talking about the next team, which is I'm not sure who. So India.
It's Team India. First
Oh,
time. New team.
Debut for India with such names as Gender Blender, all caps.
Bruh moment on the
and
team.
Bruh moment. Yeah, they have 6 players. They're not going to qualify because that's the rule I'm going to go by, is that if you don't have 8 people, you're not going to qualify. But they have a team, and that's awesome.
They got a team. Let's go, dude. Like I said, the Indian tournament community is it's pretty sizable. You know, they have quite a good thing going on there. So it's a team that maybe in the future could cook up something in a couple of years, a year or 2. It's great to see them, but I don't think they got enough this year with the 6-player team.
For
good to see him though.
Yeah, people who don't know that Gender Blender is a name change, obviously, from Potla, who's still the main tournament player in this country. At 4-digit. I think this roster, like, it's nice to see them make a team, but yeah, they do need a full roster to try to qualify.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next team, which should be Indonesia for the next roster. This is another interesting one. 9-12 last year. Kept 6 of the same 8 players. Notably, Skydiver is back after I don't know how many years gone from the tourney scene, and Lifeline is now playing for Team Indonesia in OWC.
Skydiver just like spawned back in. I'm a bit shocked to see Skydiver back. Happy to see him back, but I'm surprised to see him. I feel like he hasn't played. Well, I mean, has he played much in the
No.
tournament scene this year?
No, I haven't
No.
seen him in any tournaments this year, honestly. Maybe some Indonesia lands, but
There's
Damn.
a team that I need to put at 7-8, and I cannot put these guys there. This
See,
is like the
Yeah,
9.
same here.
I'm at the point where I'm starting to think of like who we're gonna put at 7 to 8, and I'm like, this team could actually do it this year, but they could also just not do it. And I mean, like I'm okay with putting them 9 through 12. I'm not gonna complain if we put them 9 through 12, but I think 7 through 8 is like aspirational.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're bringing back 2 of like historically your country's strongest players ever. You're bringing in the number 3 player in the world and your best tourney player of all time, although he hasn't really played many tournaments this year. But the thing is, it's the weirdest way of saying this. By putting this team at 7 through 8, we have to put another team in 9 through 12. And like Chiv, I think me and Chiv are thinking of the same team.
There's
We have
one
to-
team where people will not realize is so good this year, and they got to go 7th, 8th instead.
Mhm.
That's all I was saying.
But yeah,
Like-
Indo is really freaking strong. And they could get 7th and 8th, but I'm putting them 9 to 12.
Yeah. It's like these guys, like they definitely upgraded, but I don't know. There's just one team that hasn't been shown yet, and I think that people will be surprised when we put them 7th, 8th because I think that's the game-changing team this year.
There's too many teams that I want to put in 9-12. I can't. I want to put them in both 9-12 and 13-16. 9-12 because I think they're really good, and 13-16 because there's other teams that I also think are really good. So I'm just gonna agree with 9-12. I mean, I guess I'll put 13-16. We got a 7-8 to balance it out, but like I don't even think 13-16 is representative of the team skill. I think they're just really good, and there's a lot of other teams that are just as good, if not better, and that's the hard part. Like, I don't know. The team clearly got better. Like Skydiver, Lifeline, I think are both really, really good players, and I think they are going to have another good run this year. But I think 9-12 is going to be very competitive this year. I think making it to semis is going to be extremely competitive this year. So that's the only thing.
All right, well, we go 9-12, and
good.
I don't know, and yeah.
Go next.
We watch this team prove us wrong and make a crazy
Yeah.
run to like top 6. Like
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
that could
Straight
happen.
up.
This is a team that could do that. Like they have the power to do it.
There's skill cap.
Yo, Israel, let's go. These guys like high key could qualify again, right? They kept
Yeah.
him. They have Mr. Potato.
Yeah.
They have Chip. They have Panic Koala. Like they have good players. This is. I don't know that they win a match necessarily. I think it's the same thing as last year, but I think they qualify again, right?
God, the way some of the players popped off
close.
last year was insane. Can they do that twice in a row?
Yeah, I don't
The
have them as
players are good.
qualify.
They're
It's
like
so close.
outside looking
It's so
in.
close.
IMO, like they're really
Yeah.
good. But like once again, another one of those teams that's good, but like they could fall anywhere between like 30th and like 36.
Mhm.
So just you have to be a believer. Aaron looks to be a believer. I'm not really.
pretty
believe
sure
it.
half
Yeah,
this
I
team is in the
mean,
army.
it's again like it's just kind of aspirational. Like they can qualify. Whether or not they do is a different matter.
They have Clash
Let's
of
see.
Clans and Clash Royale.
Clash Royale.
I know.
Oh, I
those
didn't
are
cotton
names,
on to
man.
that.
I
Mhm.
think
They
that
have
might be
Mr.
Kai.
Potato
I think
Chip,
that might
too.
be C Ash of Clans though. I think
Mr.
that's an
Potato-
I.
Israel
Yeah, they have
wins
Mr.
the team
Potato Chip.
username contest
Come on, man.
flat out. This
Now, they
team
win
wins.
Yeah.
First in usernames. I think they're like, I think they're 33rd. I don't know, man. Like this is
I don't think
Israel
this
is
pool
always a
reflects them
team that
very
is
well.
exactly on the edge.
Like-
So
I think if this pool is no one hidden one, Hard Rock one, or all aim, I think they'll qualify. But I don't.
oh
think
yeah,
it
the
is.
pool is definitely not good for
The
them.
pool
Also,
just does
kind of the
not
same
favor
as,
these guys
like-
at all. And I'm pretty sure I heard Chip is in the army, and he can't even. And Accelerate is also in the army. So like, there's just way too many circumstances right now, and like external factors for me to put these guys as qualify.
Yeah, this is kind of the same as like Team Argentina, where like the hidden pool is kind of bad for them. The Hard Rock pool is kind of bad for them because Hard Rock
Mhm.
1 is really multi-skill. So I don't think it's as good of a pool for Israel this year as it was last year. So I think they are DNQ based on the pool because they are always right on that edge. So just changes in the pool structure can affect them that way.
Yeah, like really good team, really good players. They showed us that last year, but just not too sure if they're going to do a really start competition this year.
I hope they qualify. It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really hard to say, right?
All right. Well, we
What's
say
up?
DNQ, and then we go Italy. Ryusaki Kirochi, Shadow Motoko, Arj, Julio, and then they bring in 3 players. I'm not familiar with Kario, Wakano, or BGM16 personally. Argenchino is really good. This is a like qualify angle and maybe win. I feel like this is just when I think of like there's a certain group of teams that I always think of every year. Like there's like Italy and then kind of like the Nordic countries, for instance, where it's like they'll probably qualify and win like one match, and then that's that.
Guys, I'm already gonna get flamed.
I'm ready to get flamed.
We are very, very different on this.
Miles is
I like
with
the
me.
ambition, Dio. Actually,
I'm a believer as well, Dio. Like this team is sick. Like Kirochi, dude.
I think people are forgetting 3-digit World Cup and like every like Kirochi is like the Korean Maluko of Italy, if you know what I'm talking about. Like Kirochi plays on a bunch of open rank tournament teams that have 0 chance of going far in the bracket and is like 5.0 match cost every single match. Like she's ridiculous. I think this team got better faster than the other teams got better. So I think even though a lot of their roster is the same, they're going to do better this year.
Yeah. My opinion is that if you look at last year's match, they barely went 1-2, and they went 5-4 against the Turkey without Ho even showing up to the match. Like, it was on the skin of their teeth, and Kirochi had to literally top score every single map. And it's like, if Origin Dem don't step up like this year, like, I don't know, it's just really inconsistent for me, and I feel like I've already heard they hate the pool, and I think if they hate that pool, they're gonna hate every pool. So like, it's just like, do the factors really add up here? And I don't think they have the motivation nor the rest of the team to really pull through compared to other teams that have gotten so many upgrades this year.
3WC has happened since last WC. They look so good in that, albeit that was a 3v3 where you're able to field like those 3 superstars.
That's very different.
Yeah,
and
I'm a believer.
Okay, we just go middle of the road here and say 1724.
Yes,
yeah,
and then apparently we're moving on to Japan again.
How do we go about like Japan on this one? They've lost some very key players, replaced them with some new ones, but yeah, they're still a very good team. They got a great core. I feel like some of their key players have improved quite a bit, but it's a hard one to call with this really competitive sort of mid-range of teams. What are you thinking?
Varv is back.
Varvalian is back.
Varv is back.
Really good.
How is he going to be able to reprise that like carry role that he had a few years back? I think if he is going to be like the difference between putting this team like 13 through 16 and like 17 through 24. I'm not sure if any of us are going to go 9 through 12. I think that's the overperformance.
Nah, I'm content rolling 13, 16 here. I think Rollpan, Altaline, Invoker, Kinakan, Varvalian, Peachy, like, damn. I'm not as familiar with Rikuima or R10Shi or however that's meant to be pronounced. I apologize. But I think the rest. Yeah, true. I think the rest of this team is good enough to make this like a top 16 for sure.
By the way, Rollpan is actually coming back.
Yeah, Rollpan is new as well, by the way. They traded him for Iger.
Yeah, it's always a little awkward for that when it's the captain in terms of how we arrange these team rosters. So.
I think 13-16 guaranteed. I would be not surprised if they went even further if they had a really good bracket. I think everyone's like, wow, like Ravalian joined the team. That's gonna be the game changer. Like, I don't think people realize Rollpan is unironically a top 3 player on this team, and he is absolutely crazy. Besides Rollpan, Tichi has improved a lot. Invoker and Konkon are still as good as before. And the new players in Ryoshi and Rikuma, I think they'll turn some heads. Because these guys beat like players like Iger, players like Haga in tryouts. And I think they're here to show that they can really play.
Mm-hmm. People here probably don't know Rikuima. He was their top performer in 4WC. So that guy, he's used to performing really well in tourneys. So I think a lot of people should look at him. As Shiv said, he's going to be a really good come-up player for Japan.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're all pretty much in agreement. So 13-16 for Japan, and we can go on to the next team.
Ooh,
Kazakhstan.
Holy, wait, did they really change out 6 players?
Wow.
Goodness. Unfortunately, I don't think it matters what players you swap out when you get 40.
This team, like, I think there's a world, like, if there's one universe, like, there's actually a chance this team qualifies very well. I can't put that in this one, but I could see with a Vexy Kamenshik that they can make a qualifying run because those two players
Yeah.
are insanely good.
Those,
I don't
those
know
two are
what-
good.
Yeah.
The rest of the team, not so sure. But those two are good. But it's like a lot of the other like DNQ teams, right? It's just like it's very hard to put them as qualifying when a lot of the members of their team we just don't even see in a lot of community tournaments, and we have no idea how well they're actually going to do under the stress and nerves of playing OWC.
Yeah.
I think this team will do better than 43rd, but not like close enough to qualifying. Like maybe like 36, where I'd put them.
Yeah, they're better, but yeah, I agree. Not quite top 32. But I'd love to be proved wrong. No, that would be a story if this team qualifies, though. And they've got some players that could do some bits in that situation, but yeah, they're in the 4v4. I don't know, man.
Hey, Latvia.
On to Latvia. Waywern is back.
Waywern is back. How many? He's played a lot of
Piper. We're gonna
lot of
call
turnies.
them Piper.
OG. That guy's such an OG.
Straight up.
And then still a roster of only 7, it looks like, for Latvia this year. I'm gonna double check that, but yeah, only 7 players, which never really truly bodes well
Yeah.
for how you do in OWC.
I would say shout out to Hi 142 and N-Bomb. I think these guys are very good for their rank, and if they had a Coley bed, like maybe there's a world where they could qualify, but it's not this one anyways.
We need Hee Hee Haha versus Pee Pee Poo Poo in a matchup.
Oh my
That's all I'll
God.
say. They need to qualify so they can make that happen.
Aaron, you want to cast that one, right? You want to get in with those names?
No, he wants to cast Philippines.
I'm
yeah.
marking unavailable for every single Philippines match, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
All right, we'll move off of Latvia. We'll get on to the next team, Latvia and DNQ, right alongside Kazakhstan, and we move to Lithuania, where they have also swapped out.
Oh my
7
God,
of their
what?
players.
Holy
Wow.
crap.
7 new players.
That's big.
That's a
I'm just
rebuild
assuming.
year if
I'm
I've
just
ever
assuming
seen
that
it.
that's right. I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before.
No shiny, no Shinru. That's really
Yeah,
No,
no
like, they
Shiner, no
lost all their
Nitro, no
tournament
BZ,
players.
no 5. Yeah, they literally lost everybody. That
They
like,
lost the entire tournament roster.
like they get 40. They got 41st last year. I think they do worse this year.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean this is just like a catastrophe. Without
This is some trust the process shit right here.
yeah.
Yep.
Who's Joel Embiid of this roster? Who's pulling him back in like 5 years from now?
Nobody.
I don't know enough of these.
It's
players.
just
Mr.
to go
Cookus,
next.
Mr. Cookus is pulling the back.
Not a
bro.
believer, not a believer. Unlucky.
Yeah, like no Shiner, no BZ, no 5F, no Nitram. Like these and RX base, like those are the like Lithuania tournament players. So like I don't know.
Yeah, there's just lost a lot of power there.
All righty.
All right.
On to the next one.
A little spree of non-qualifiers. Malaysia could continue that theme. I will leave this. This is another one where there's the new players. I don't know them at all, and I still miss the days of Malaysia having like Wuhan stuff. Those were the good old days.
I had this team
Yeah.
qualifying like literally yesterday on my pick'em, but I was like doing a little check of that before this, and unfortunately I had to move them down. Like they have really good players, like Lu Nasa,
Yeah,
formerly known as a Kong Kong Kitsune, very good player. Rampak's coming
he's
back as
good.
well, but just not sure if they can do it.
yeah, no.
yeah, you have a
no
couple of decent
Shimon.
players, but
Like
lost too
if they
much.
had, if they had the best roster, like Shimon, Wuhua, like Zeph, easy qualify. Maybe even like a match or two, like for sure. But they just don't, and they even lost some of the active tournament players like Zygotti and just Zygotti. But I don't know. It's just like if they don't qualify last year, I don't see how they qualify this year.
Yeah, no. If they can convince Shimon, Wuhu, and Zeph to play, they can be a really good team. Definitely qualifying, maybe contesting for like 13, 16, but not right now.
Yeah.
Okay. On to the next team. It is Mexico. They qualified last year. Wolfie, Cyros, Camberos, Riot, Saint, SFT, all staying from last year. Big Yikes, Charles Leclerc, and RC subbing out for Alpha, Tunnel Twister, and Dream. No face reveal, though.
I think this team's qualifying.
One of these names is Pundice, no? I don't know which
Nice
one
joke.
it is.
That's unlucky. That's unlucky. But yeah, I still think this team qualifies. They have some good players coming back. Riot, El Cookies Mexicano coming back.
Yeah, it's like I think they qualify, but like I don't know. Like I know Riot say SFT are so good, but like they literally got 1 point in 2 matches last year, and like how much better did they really get compared to other rosters, right?
But
you
it
know?
was enough to qualify, wasn't it? It was enough to qualify. I
It
think
was
they.
enough to qualify, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I
No
don't-
Pundice is like kind of I don't know.
I mean, that guy's tourney banned. Like he can't play.
Yeah,
No.
he can't play.
So...
He's banned. He's literally banned. Like he's not even
okay,
fully banned. He's
restricted.
just banned.
Yeah.
So it's like
oh yeah. No, I
yeah.
remember now. Anyway, I think they still qualify. I think they're like 31st, but I think they
Yeah.
still qualify.
It's like you
Yeah,
look at like
I
the
agree.
rosters above, and there's players that will be able to match. Like it's not like this pool is 8 stars or Viral 1v4. Like it's a 6.4 star pool, 6.5 around the 32. Like he could FC every map and he could still lose the entire tournament. Like it's all about team cohesion at the start, right? So if they can't seed high and they get like one of these like super consistent teams, they're just gonna lose. Like that's just how it is.
Still enough to qualify.
Also, wait, people are saying that the roster is like not right or something.
Yeah, it's definitely not correct. It's Pundice swapped out, Dash Karu swapped out, and Halipers swapped out.
Yeah,
I think
these are-
the other players
Oh, no
are
Karu,
from
man.
Portugal. Yes,
no
they are
Karu
definitely
is
from
really
Portugal.
bad.
Karu's a
Big
really
Yikes
good
is
Wii
from
player.
Portugal. I don't know where the others are from.
I think it is.
Wait,
Yeah, Portugal.
This is crazy.
But yeah, I think they're going to qualify. But how will they do in the 4v4s?
Yeah.
That's the big question. But I think they'll be fine. I think they'll make it as they always do. They're a reliable team, Mexico.
Okay. So 25-32 for Mexico, and on to our next team, which is, drum roll please, as we get it, Mongolia. The first
Oh,
time
shit.
Mongolia is playing. Shout out to Nuke Owo for farming from rank 8K to rank 4988. The day that registrations closed for OWC. This is the top 6 Mongolia ranking by performance points, by the way.
Let's
They
go,
only
Sigi,
have 6
finally!
eligible players, and they're all playing.
Congratulations. Maybe we put
Unfortunately,
first
DNQ.
actually, yeah, like it's the first. Like I don't know, it's hard, man. Like congratulations
telling
to
me
making the
Sigi doesn't
OWC,
carry this?
Sigi.
Oh yeah, good to see you. But 6-player team in it.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Cool
seeing
to
in
see him,
chat.
though.
We need a Mongolia versus Kazakhstan show match at the end of the tournament. Like in the same weekend with all the like staff show matches. We need that.
Oh my god.
For sure. All right, next country.
Next country, Mongolia into DNQ, alongside many others. And onto the Netherlands. Lily Luciano Manevat. Lots of subs this year. 5 players out, including our very own Cowboy for Ahio, Kushper, Talon, UC2, and Wessel Osu2. I think UC2 and Wessel and Kushper are all really good tourney players, UC2 in particular. I don't know much about Ahio and Talon, if anybody else does.
I'm such a believer that these guys will qualify and even win one match. I think they will easily early stage one of these teams, and I think UC2 is going to FC every map in the pool.
Yeah,
This
UC2
Valor
is
16 pool
cracked,
is
dude.
such a UC2 pool where he's going to demolish the opponent. Like it's not even gonna be close. Like so, I'm a believer that this is the teams one of the teams I'm actually rating up compared to everyone else. I think people will heavily underestimate UC2 Aheo, Kushper. These are like their 4-digit players, and then obviously you have Talon and your 3-digit skill cap. Wessel, classic tournament player, and then obviously Lily and Luciano, the 2 strongest players of Manivat, coming round at 3rd.
Yeah, really surprised when this Netherlands team did not qualify last year because they've been like historically a very solid roster. But yeah, I partially agree with Chiv. This is their comeback year. They have a lot of good players coming up from 4-digit. UC2 in particular being like a destroyer of worlds. Like I haven't seen too much of him playing, but I've heard other people in like 5-digit and like low 4-digit saying that he could genuinely be like an OWC player on like a top tier country. And like I don't know how much I believe that, but if people are saying that, like you have to turn your head for him.
UC2 is good enough to like make any top 3 4-digit World Cup team. I think they're like genuinely really, really good. Like I would
Straight
compare
up.
them to not quite like Yep Cup Paper from Canada, but like maybe 1 tier below that. I think they're really, really good.
Yep.
So I think that's enough to qualify. I don't think it's enough to win a match, but they'll be good.
Yeah. Also, Lillily making the team. I feel like Lillily's been a pretty old school player, but they haven't played OWC in a very long time, if ever. So cool to see him playing this year.
Yeah.
Captain too.
All right, on to New Zealand.
New
On
Zealand time.
to New Zealand. Get everything cleared and move on to the next team, New Zealand.
Dude, I want the New Zealand versus Australia match so bad.
We
I want
need
that
it.
matchup.
I think it's possible this year.
Yeah.
Like maybe even round of 32.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
Again, I'm gonna rate these guys up. I think easily these guys have gotten way better in terms of skill. I think Kim Soo here is gonna be super surprising. People are saying with Buff Corral, and it's going up is a really big addition as well. And besides that, like Zuma is always gonna be good. Psyche is always gonna be good. Like these guys are definitely taking a match easy, and maybe even get 2 matches.
Short Potato coming back. That guy's an OG. Been around for a very long time. Yeah, I think you pretty much hit it on the head. Like this team is good. I think they have a lot to prove. A lot of people don't really know about them because, just not, I guess, too big on like the international stage, but definitely like tons of potential here. Wouldn't be surprised if they did go 17-24.
New Zealand's winning a match this year. I have faith. They're winning.
It's the
They're
year.
winning. They're winning at least one match, dude. As long as they can figure out how to schedule, because New Zealand scheduling is always doomed against a lot of other countries.
Yeah, the scheduling debuff. Like I said, I would love to see it, and I said the way the seeding could work. Just please, I
do
want to
think-
see the match so
yeah.
bad.
When we reformat the teams, like if we're gonna choose one team to go up, it's easily this team. Like this team, like I'm looking at the other like 25 to 32 teams, and I think they're just gonna beat them.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, I think they're like on the edge of 25-32, but like compared to teams like Brazil, Finland, Italy, I'm not sure if they're quite that good. I think Miles said it best. They have a lot to prove this year, and they haven't really shown that they can be that good yet. But I think this is the year for them to do that. I don't know if it's going to happen because, again, I think a lot of other teams have also gotten better, but this is definitely a team that's grown a lot and gotten a lot better and has the potential to do more this year than they have in previous years.
Yeah, I think they're better than the teams in 25 through 32, but maybe not as good, or at least not better than the teams in 17 through 24, which makes it really hard. But I like the 17 through 24, but I will put them in 25 through 32 for now. I think it's probably fine for the moment, and then revisit if needed.
Yep. Okay, on
Sounds good.
to the next team. Norway. This
Ooh,
is
baby.
always a fun one to discuss. Yoxpai, GN, Penguinzi, Anthony W, Melver, and Neneric are coming back. Marcus and Jan Patorman are swapping out for Paper Candle and Amaya Koromo this year. 17-24 last year. Thoughts on Norway?
Something hidden too. Except not really, because this is such a good speed team. And such a lot of different things team. A very scary team last year, and I think they're very good this year. I know Paper Candles made the rounds. I'm not too sure about Amaya Koromo though myself, but they still got a lot of their very important players this year, so they're still probably going to be doing a similar sort of thing.
Yeah,
Right?
people are gonna say it's like this is easily a 13 and 16, but like when you look at the other rosters on 13 and 16, it's like I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
I think that there's bit of a space for sure. But I do think that they're still really good. I mean, like people already said, Paper Candle's really good. I mean, like losing Marcus is like really bad, but I think Marcus is just not even 5K. Like I'm pretty sure he's lower than 5K now. It's actually crazy.
He's
But,
just
like,
inactive, yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask, did he try out? Because if Marcus tried out and didn't make the team, this is really scary because
I don't
Marcus
think he
is
farmed.
crazy.
Like he just didn't. I don't think like he's just not
didn't
even
farm?
5K.
Oh, that's
No,
He's
sad.
like 7K right now.
Oh Jesus. Oh yeah, he's like
ranker.
6,300. He's been not in the range for 90 days, so he just could not play.
All right.
It's just a 17-24 angle.
Yep.
Mhm.
This is always one of the
Amaya
teams
Koromo is Convy, who played a few years ago. speed
Oh,
player.
B player.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
They have a surprisingly good speed roster considering it's Norway.
Yeah, Norway's always a team that gets kind of like characterized as a reading team because of Yoxpai GN, but aside from those two, there aren't like a lot of other really good reading players on the team, and it's mostly mechanics players.
Yeah.
Aside from players like Anthony W and I guess Paper Candle. I'm not really sure what Paper Candle is on the team for. I don't know too much about them as a player. But yeah, this is probably a 17-24 team. I think it was Kevin was saying earlier, like the other 13-16 teams are just really, really good. So
Yeah,
it's hard to put
it's
Norway
really
above them.
hard, right? That's always how it's been. It's like you can say this team is going there, but you look at the team's size, like I don't know that much anymore, actually.
Anthony W is like low key like a top 2 player on this
Mm.
team, maybe. If
Yeah,
you
he
don't
is.
know Anthony W, that guy is like nuts, and he kind of like fits in a skill set that they don't really have much else of in Norway. He's a really strong hard rock player, which I think is going to make this Norway team extremely dangerous on the free mods, which is going to be like they're going to have their crazy good hidden player probably in Yolkspie. So I think on free mod, especially, this team is going to be very strong.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We have them on 17-24. We'll put them there and move on to the next team, which is Panama. We're going to Panama
Banger.
here.
Welcome to OWC, Panama.
Let's go.
Welcome to OWC
Let's go,
Panama.
Hammy!
This is their
Hammy!
first
Go, Hammy!
team.
They have Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike, the
Your
better
favorite
version of
FPS.
Counter-Strike 2.
Your favorite.
Yeah, completely new roster of 7 players with Hammy TR, also known as Ramon 2, on the team. Unfortunately, they, despite having never played before, don't have a 8-man roster. So, rule of thumb.
We've got
Yeah,
7
very hard
players
to
though,
qualify.
which is more than 6.
They do have more than 6.
Which is
Yep.
more than 6, but it's less than 8, sadly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if Hammy plays Osu. That guy just like lifts weights now. He probably saw his country having enough signups and was just like, yeah, we're going to get a team finally. So just showing up for the boys. Respect Mr. Ramon too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As always, I have the best hopes for new teams. Please do it. I can't see it, though. Can't see it this year, sadly.
Counter-Strike's also really good. I think those are the 2 good players for their team. They'll probably be in for basically every map, but hard to qualify with 7 players. So, Panama in DNQ, and we move on. We go now to the Philippines. This is a very interesting team this year. Their captain, Hyok, joined by Hyok 2044, and Hyok.
This is like that meme video where it's Jeopardy instead of Jeopardy, and they're just saying Jeff for everything. Well, nobody wants to commentate this team. That much is for sure. So super strong roster. Henry's one of the best players in the world right now. This is definitely we have to put somebody in 7th through 8th eventually, and it's gonna start with this guys.
This is where the investment is, guys. Like, I'm sorry,
Yep.
like this is the 7th, 8th team people need to start believing in.
Mhm.
Like, people need to realize, like, I think people are like, this team is okay. Like, Envy's like a top player. It's like, is more like he's just like the 3rd best player in the tournament. Like, people need to see that like he's like Vestel and like MBEG level on most of these pools before it gets 9 stars. Like, he'll just FC every map. And Hyok might be one of the best tournament players in the game. So when you have those 2 added up, as well as Nathan Ram, and you have Milk Tierism as well, like, I think this roster is an easy shoe-in for 7th to 8th. I want to see if they can do even better, but like, I'm a believer.
I'm also a believer. I knew we were thinking the same thing here, Jeff.
Like, they just, like, people are gonna be like, wow, you put Hong Kong 17th, 24th? This team is 5-0ing Hong Kong. I don't even care. Like, I'm such a believer in Philippines. They gotta go up
they
here.
somehow got Nathan Ram, Milkteism, and Zone Luis all to play in the same year as Enry is peaking is ridiculous for me. Like, this team is really, really good. I think the only reason we don't have them any higher is because top 6 is so ridiculously competitive in OWC that basically your entire team has to be all really good tourney players for you to be top 6. And I think the gap is going to start to come out when it gets to the end of semifinals or like close to finals between basically just like Xyloz, Impouster, and Miggy. Like, that's it. But the rest of this team is all really, really good players, and they have a core 5 that they can choose from, with Enry just solo carrying every map. So it's gonna be a really good team.
Yep. How much, in terms of tournaments, has Hyok played in the last year?
I don't think he has played any, but I saw a Twitter clip of him seeing a 9-star, 8-star. I was like, yeah, he's still back. Like, he's gotta be informed, dude. Like, there's no way.
Yeah. That's the big question, because I was wondering, what sort of shape has he been in, right? Because he hasn't played in donkeys. and I haven't seen him play at all. Because if Hyok plays as well as we know he can, then he's going to be a proper asset. That's just the big question mark for me. But if he's in that sort of form, then maybe that he'll be just fine. And then, yeah, Philippines are going to be pretty good this year, aren't they?
Yep.
I'm a
Yo.
believer.
If last year was their coming out year, I think this year's got to be like the back
This
it
is
up
the
year.
one.
Because I
This
remember
is the
after
one.
last year, everybody said like, "Oh, imagine this team with Yak," when they were
Yeah.
like turning heads on every single one of their players, just like doing really well in matches. And now they have Yak. So
Now they
Let's
have
see.
8 Hawks, so
Yeah, true.
every caster is dodging their matches, but they'll be really good matches anyway. And let's move on from the Philippines to our next team, which is Poland.
Top 3. Just send
Yeah.
them
Yeah, to
straight
the
to the
moon.
freaking top, bro. Poland to the goddamn moon. They have the best tournament player in the fucking world, and that accounts for so much when you have the rest of your roster that's this strong. This team is top 3.
See, like, I already put Canada top 3, so I'm not allowed to. Obviously, like they are probably top 3. It's just some home bias for the boys, you know. Like you gotta litter them, but like let's give some shout out to the rest of the team. Obviously, besides your star players like Risto and Nahus. Well, Nahus actually really improving a lot this year, but I really want to speak on some of these guys like Ypan or Rafał. This guy is fucking crazy, bro. This guy's sick at the game, and same with like Michny, like. I don't know. These guys are gonna be sick, man.
I think
Yeah.
this year is like the best of Poland's old guard meeting the best of their new talent. Like we still have Bartek, Michny, and Rafis coming back, and we have their newer top tournament players in Malashevsky, Nahus, and Mastash, and Ypan even. I'm not sure how good I'm not gonna try and pronounce that name. I'm not positive how good he is, but you have those 7 other players, like this team is just crazy. Like top 3, second best tournament player in the world, arguably top 1. Like this team, like I think this is the first team where we could say, like, on their best day, can this team actually contest top 1?
Yes.
Like, can this team on their best day beat South Korea or the US?
Yeah, this team on a good day, like there's a world where like I think it's just like USA, South Korea, Poland, like oh spoilers, whoa, nobody could have seen that coming. I guess just USA, South Korea, Poland top 3, but like those matches can go any way depending on who's playing the best on a given day, and Poland is definitely capable of winning this tournament.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, I don't have the super secret source knowledge of map pools that some of these peeps have, but I feel like in finals, 'cause I'll put them second, which means like, yeah, in SK versus Poland, all right? Or whoever, do they win? I think Poland beats SK on finals pool because at that point, Malashevsky effect starts weighing a lot. And, well, yeah, I don't know. I think in the head-to-head, I can see Poland beating SK. Or maybe even more than that. I'll see how I feel later on if I'm getting a bit more brave. But second, yeah, I can see him making the grand final. Definitely.
What if the only team to beat the USA since 2015 is Poland, and they just win this year as well? That would be
yeah.
crazy.
Did Poland have the
Well, I
momentum?
mean, South Korea did
Hang
beat
on,
them last
hang
year,
on,
but they
hang
didn't
on.
eliminate
Yeah, but they didn't
them.
win. They didn't
though.
win.
Hang on. You bring up a very good point there, Miles. I forget about the mental. Hang on, wait for it. Wait for
Poland
I'm seeing it.
Poland mental is like insane. It won't auto update, I don't think, is the problem, but he's got to be putting them first because
it.
otherwise
Yeah,
it wouldn't make sense.
I'm clicking first.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna put them
Yeah.
third. For
We put them
now,
third
but-
for now, and but yeah, they're good. They're really good.
Yeah. This is the best the Poland team has been since they last won the World Cup. So, looking very, very strong again for Poland this year. Hopefully, we can see them top 3. I think we're all pretty much guaranteeing them top 3 at this point. They look really, really good.
Yep.
Okay. On to our next team, which is Portugal. They did not qualify last year.
Boys.
They subbed out 3 people, and they got White Car.
White car.
White car.
Car's in.
What type of?
Yeah,
white
I don't
car?
know. I think they once again just don't qualify. Hey, look, there's big guys Charles Leclerc and RC4322 again from the Mexico screen.
Get back.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately they just don't have the players to qualify.
No.
Yeah, sadly, not enough this year. Not with this lineup of teams. Not with this lineup of teams. We got a couple of decent tourney players, just too good. Mackie Donalds really stick out, but yeah, competition's too fierce this year, man.
Okay, on to the next team after Portugal. It is Romania. This is always another
Ooh.
fun one to talk about. Team Romania. Badu, Roli, Raze, Eternum, Howlpleb, and Lucrece coming back again. Nanoya and Kehest subbed out for Kamoziala and Sylvian. Nanoya, again, is actually working on the map pools this year, so could not play OWC. Um, it's unfortunately a bit of a downgrade for Romania this year because Nanoya obviously ranked #1 Romania and one of the best tournament players in the country.
Like, people already know like why I'm putting this. Like, I just don't got space anymore on my team. Like, I just don't got space. Like, there's countries above this still for me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's got to go here.
Yeah, Romania, always a good team. When you're bringing out Badu, Roli, Eternum, Lucrece, like, you know it's going to happen. I mean, Kamosiala just coming back for his, like veteran, like, tenure, like,
I
18
did,
millionth OWC, but unfortunately not too sure about how impactful he'll be able to be. But yeah, always a good team. We see a little bit of variation here. Between 9th and 16th, I think that's exactly where I'd put them. Always a good team, but
Yeah,
not sure.
no Nanoya, no win. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I
Dang.
think last year was just like
That was the run of all time.
Yeah, that was their run of all time. They benefited a little bit from the China thing, right? Too, if memory serves. I think that affected their bracket and stuff. This is again like they could get top 8, but they could also get top 16. And I mean, we're gonna have to be at the point of putting in 13th through 16th, but like it's a potential 9th through 12th as well. I think, and it's
like
potentially even better if they get like another like everything coming together like last year.
Again, it's one of these teams where it's like they have 3 super solid players, Lucrece, Badu, and Eternum, and they have 2 still really good players in Roli and Raze, but they're missing their 4th player. And like, I just like, if you look at the 9th to 12th, like, you gotta take one of those teams down, right? You gotta take either Chile, China, or Indonesia down.
Yeah,
I think this team can beat any of those teams on a good day. I don't think that those teams are unbeatable for Romania by any means.
Yeah, I don't think that Chile, China, or Indonesia are any like markedly better than Romania. And I think if they have Nanoya, I'm probably considering like putting them next to Philippines or in 5-6 again. But I without Nanoya, I think it's really hard for them to contest teams like Philippines, for example. But I do think that this roster is definitely good enough to beat the teams in 13-16. So I'm thinking 9-12. I mean, you don't get top 6 in OWC for nothing, even though it was the China side of losers bracket, even though it was the run of all time. Like, they were still really, really good last year.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if Kevin needs to make the flag thing again.
We can discuss switches later if you
But
guys
yeah,
want.
this is like right in there.
Yep, just another matter of there being too many freaking good teams in this tournament, and it's just where do you believe this one plays exactly? We'll get to that more in the phase after the stream where we order them, but for now, that's where
This is a weird one, bro. This
What
is
do we do
a
with these?
weird one.
believer.
They're still really, that's so good.
Okay,
though,
so
Yeah,
Russia
yeah.
just feels like an auto lock for top 12 worst case scenario every year because they have like the second biggest player base in the game or whatever. There's not a chance in hell that they get 4th. Sorry, Miles. I think I think
top 6, top
They're
6.
so good, dude.
I think this is top 8 for me. I don't think this is top 4. I think that's delusional.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ciccone obviously insane, did really good. Gamer was on last year, right? I'm pretty sure. And then
I think
Handsome
he
Me
was.
Marco
his name
Jessica.
change?
His name was Vacman at the time, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Gamer
Is
was.
he back, man?
I'm pretty sure. I'm relatively confident that Gamer was on last year, and played very well if he was. Yeah, that was Vacman. And okay, Scroll qualifying for MGC, dude is playing very well right now, and obviously you bring in some really skilled players to replace some of the guys you lost. That being said, like it's again the situation where I don't think they beat the teams ahead of them, and Russia does the same thing every year, where like maybe they get to semifinals week and then just kind of die. And unfortunately, that's just too much tradition for me to change.
Like, I've always seen people
Tradition.
already like
Last
being
year.
surprised in the chat. Like, these guys are crazy, man. You have 3 open rank level players. Like, let's compare this. Like, let's use the example like Romania, right? You have Ciccone, Walter, and Skull, and then you still have Gamer, Desuke, Odesk and Markram, like this team is just like it's just the Romania roster, but literally all the extra players are just so incredible fills, and that's why I have them so high because they have these carries and they have the backup. I think it's an easy show for 56.
Yeah, and I can also put this here with map pool knowledge as well. This is a team that is very good at very wacky types of maps. I would not put them here on a very normal slot pool. But what we're doing to the map pool this year, I think this is one of the teams that benefits from it. You have Markram, who's an extremely dynamic gimmick player, going to be able to absolutely eat up all of the types of wacky maps we throw at him. And then you just have like Ciccone and Welter Scrowl as a big three. And then you have that, and then you add Din on like speed, you add Gamer on aim. Like this team is just really dynamic and I think really adaptable to a lot of different styles of like map pooling, which is why I'm putting them in top 4.
I think there's a world where they definitely do better than 7th and 8th. Because I was umming and ahhing about 5th or 6th for this team because they have a lot of depth and a really strong core, and they have all of the rest, the ingredients for a top end OWC team. But the Russia curse of reaching semis or in finals after demolishing the opposition and just dropping off a cliff against some of the bigger teams just happens every year, man. I can't bet against it. But there is a world where this team gets over that because they have all the elements you need to do well at the top 8 level, really.
Well, I think we kind of have to go with them 7th, 8th because we don't have a slot in 5th, 6th, or 4th, so they kind of just default into 7th, 8th. But again, adjustable if needed. I think that's most likely to be where they end up anyway, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that lets us go on.
Regarding the last few countries, get your Twitter screenshots while they're hot, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
The chat's been going off. Saudi Arabia is here.
I'm getting flamed.
They have a roster this year.
Goodbye. I mean, this is like grand opening, grand closing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good to see a new team. It's not a 6-player roster, but teams are too good this year. Always good to see new teams, though. I got to big them up, man.
The problem with this team is like they're just missing like their 2 biggest game changers, right? They could qualify if A, Peachy didn't flag change to Philippines, and B, 3B Do was not ranked 10,000. So if they had those 2 players with Zestash and Eyes Never Open, I would put them in qualifiers maybe. But
Wait,
without
Peachy
them, it's
flag
just
changed?
yeah, Peachy flag changed to Philippines.
That's sad. He was like one of their big up and comers. Like I thought this team with Peachy, I definitely agree with you there. This team with Peachy could be like qualifiers contenders, but without him, I'm just not really sure. Probably not.
Yeah,
Right.
what could have been? Maybe next year, though. They get the squad together. Well, not Peachy, but I think they have some power, I think, that's not here, which we could see in the future.
All right. That's it for Saudi Arabia. We're on to Singapore. Tebby, Dawnwing, Demonical, Eagle Embers, Yellow, GS Blank, Megamic, and Seal out for Kustronaut and Emilia. Thoughts on the new players for Singapore and how the roster is this year?
Very good.
Yeah. They're
Very
pretty good.
solid,
I talked to Megamic a lot about this team. They're gonna do fine, but like as you can already tell, like I just look at the tier list and we've already filled out most things past 13 and 16, and it's like there's just no more space left, right? This roster is good. I know the tryout scores and both Amelia and Eagle barely made it on the team because these guys don't play the game anymore. But I think people need to be really careful of Yellow Dash, who is the up and coming player, as well as Kustronaut. So we'll see how those players do specifically. Megamic is map pulling, so he can't play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, surprisingly, no Lost Light. Lost Light, formerly a very strong player for them.
He's not. I talked to him. He's not. He doesn't want to play either.
He doesn't want to play. Okay.
He just didn't
Them with Lost Light could.
Oh,
them with Lost Light and
like,
Megamic, maybe like top.
No, easy 13 to 16 if it's with
Yeah.
Megamic and Lost Light. Like that would be crazy, but they just don't got that full power.
Yeah, I think this team's just worse than last year also, just by a little bit, but that's all it takes. So yeah, 17-24, and we'll move on to the next team.
They'll be all right. Also, quick shout out to GS Blank. 10 OWCs in a row for GS Blank.
Woo!
No way, 10?
Veteran
10.
discount for GSB.
10 OWCs is crazy.
Yeah, man. He's, like I say, he's the evergreen player, GS Blank. You'll love to see it.
All right, we should be getting on to Slovakia shortly. Slovakia with a group stage appearance in 2018 and a qualifiers appearance ever since. I'm hoping we'll get their roster on the sheet shortly.
having
At
some
Cabo?
tech diff, I believe.
Yep, probably some tech diff. Regardless, there we go. No,
Nope, that's the
Saudi
wrong
Arabia.
direction. That's upward, not
That's the
downward.
wrong one.
Ooh. Shit,
Slovakia
go
roster,
back.
by the way. They were 51st last year. And their roster, I don't think has all that many changes. It's TKF Yo-Yo, Doogie, Fliprop, Hranolka, My Angel Eris, Roni 484, and Terra Chrono. Actually, never mind. They swapped out 6 players. That's quite a lot of changes, but they were 51st last year. Changes need to be huge for them to matter a lot in a team like this.
Yeah, I don't think it. I mean, it's just I don't know. They don't have like the experienced open rank international tournament players, right? It's just kind of a shame.
Nah,
There
they've
are
kept
2 veterans came back. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean
I see.
they have like TKF Hranolka, but once you get past that, it's
They've lost a lot. Like I said, they still have a couple of the key players, but it's a downgrade, isn't it? And they got 51st last year.
Yeah, it's unlucky. I mean, like, yeah, Tikef and Haranoka are the OG players, and they don't even have PX or Igor 156, which is like the traditional tournament players from Slovakia. So, like, I don't know, it's rough.
Yep. All right, so DNQ for Slovakia, and we move on to the next team once again. Next team after Slovakia is South Africa. I believe this is also the debut for South Africa. And fun fact, the very first time an African team has participated in the OS World Cup, according to the history sheet.
Let's go. Oh, that is
It's
awesome.
cool.
I feel like I thought I'd. Man, I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah,
no
like-
Morocco, and I
Yeah.
did go through the history sheet. There's no other African teams on the history sheet for the placement
White
history of
African
the
is
OS World Cup.
crazy for a username. That is crazy.
That's a little wild.
Okay. I mean, only
They
thing
have
I'll
Wild
say
on their
is
team.
that people who don't know this team, IRYL is by far probably the strongest player on this team. Really good overall speed mechanics player. People have been seeing him step up in community tournaments recently as a speed hard rock fill player, and I think he's just solid. And Mate as well. I think he's a mapper, but he's good.
Yep.
Alright.
Not a full roster, so we are going to DNQ and move on. Congratulations to South Africa for getting a team this year. We are moving on to the other team with South as a part of their country
The one that's
name.
a lot more interesting to talk about of those two.
Yes, South Korea. Flying
Oh,
Tuna,
boy.
Karcher, Dash Restia, which is Zayson. Worst HR player, Allegrissimo, Amamiya Kokoro, Parisia, and Spectre. No Nongsa and no Nope KJK this year.
I'll let you guys vote first.
Yeah, same here.
This is the big one.
This is the big one.
No one wants to go.
The-
No one wants to go.
This is just the 3-way coin flip, man. USA, South Korea, Poland, like who beats who on what given day. I think the hype around this team is definitely warranted. They got to grand finals from winners side last year before they just kind of ran out of that last little bit of strength they needed to send USA packing for the first time in a while. They bring in Flying Tuna back from his military service. Worst HR player is nuts. Karcher's nuts. Their roster's insane. And I'm sorry, but until like I don't know what would have to happen for me to pick somebody other than the United States to win, because it seems like any year that I pick somebody other than the United States to win, the United States wins anyway. But if anybody was ever gonna actually close them out in a grand finals, I think it's the South Korea team. So I'm hedging my bets by placing them second, but saying there's a very good chance that they could end up winning.
My opinion is that I think the core of this team is better than USA in terms of overall skill cap between Culture, Tuna, Form, and Nelly Toru. But I think that the other 4 players on USA are going to be some game changers that will make the difference in the grand finals match.
I think anything between SK, USA, Poland, it's just a matter of who you believe is going to convert at the right time, who is going to play the best in that grand final stage based on what the map pool is, which half of us have that knowledge. 3 out of 5 of us have that knowledge. But I mean, if you're putting him second, you're putting USA in first based on what we picked so far. So it's just a matter of believing. As Aaron said, this team is the best thing we've seen since 2017 Poland that has a chance to beat the United States. So I'm gonna put them second because you'll find out why later. But yeah.
I mean, I don't think you need to try to
yeah, we don't-
like
yeah,
hide
they
it.
say
That's
find out
pretty
why.
obvious. There's only one
Totally-
team left you could possibly be picking over them.
Yeah, I think honestly, this prediction is a little bit of vibes and a little bit of hope, and
like that.
a little bit of brain at the same time. But I think their roster this year is like slightly better than last year. I almost want to say, just the players that they have been getting better. I think really just aside from Karcher is the only one who I can say is like probably about as good as he was last year. But no KJK, no Nongsa, and instead you get Spectre and who is actually the second sub?
It's Tuna.
Oh yeah, it is Tuna.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Tuna.
Coming back. I mean, the addition of Flying Tuna to this roster is huge, right? Like, if they can take the USA to tiebreaker in finals and win, and then still almost get a comeback going in the bracket reset without Flying Tuna as even a part of the roster, I think their core is just that much stronger this year, right? Like last year, it was just Karcher, worst HR player. Amamiya Kokodo has gotten a lot better, and Flying Tuna is back. So I think this core is just way better than it was last year. And if their core is way better than it was last year, and they were second, then I think this team is just they're just that good. Six Pete would be cool, but interrupting it on 5 would be cooler.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of star players here that on a grand finals could be the carry, and there's enough skill put through the team where even if you have, say, one or two of the players underperforming in that grand finals match, there's enough in the rest of the team to sort of keep it consistently fantastic, right? In this team, they've got so much depth. I'll put them third. That's solely because of my inkling at the back of my mind that when that matchup between Poland and SK happens, Poland's gonna win it because they've got Malashevsky, who doesn't give a fuck, and South Korea might underperform a bit and push Poland into that top 2 position. It's an absolute toss-up. Flip a coin. So I've put them third, but they could be second, and they could very well be first because they have the 8 to die for. There's not a single player there you see they get caught out on any sort of map. It's complete toss-up between top 3. I've put them third. I'm probably wrong. It's so hard to call.
Hey, you never know. We've
know.
seen weird things happen in this tournament, so this is definitely won't be the weirdest thing that's happened in this tournament.
I'm a believer, but we're going to move on for now. Second place overall for South Korea, at least is the prediction for now. And we can move on from South Korea to Spain, but without the S. Margot, Aleph, Antonio, Alcana, Manolo, Creator GD, and Harmonia, and My Angel Bao, with Alvaro and Bairechu subbing out Margot, their new captain. And I think it's who is their second sub? It's probably My Angel Blah.
Probably. It's on the
Yeah,
bottom.
looks like
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those teams where it's in that cluster between 28th and 36 or 37, where it just depends on the day they have during qualifiers. Because we've all seen Antonio, we all saw what that guy did last year. They definitely have a star player, and they also have a lot of players coming back from last year as well. So definitely, I think this is one of those side grading teams where don't really know if they got better, but they did good enough to qualify last year. So definitely could see them doing it. But I think I don't have them qualifying on my pick'em, but for consistency's sake here, we could say they qualify.
Also, we do still need a few teams for 17th through 24th and 25th through 32nd. So yeah.
I have them qualify on my list. I think that they're good. Antonio's good, Aleph is good, Manolo's good, Creator, Riven, they're all fine. I think they'll qualify.
Yeah, I feel like there's enough variance in how they might play where they could underperform and do a Netherlands and not qualify this year, but they've got enough ability in their squad that they should qualify as long as they do decently to their ability, right?
Yeah. Gotta rep the all caps, all spaces gang.
Yep,
So,
me and Dio should be on that team.
Yeah.
Dio, Miles, Aleph,
That's definitely
Antonio,
the whole reason.
Manolo. How many more can we have? All right.
All right, that's gonna be it for Spain. We think they qualify, but probably not a better result than last year. And I think, given how their matches went last year, it was pretty rough for them during the bracket stage. So probably the case. We'll move on to the next team, which is Sweden. Their captain Skilla with Phelan Zbinks, Tony Reno, subbing out Blue, Felrian, Knots, and Trumpetino for Yagako, Reedcat, Grippet, and Andros. Reedcat and Andros are back for Sweden
That's
this
huge.
year.
That's so huge for them. That's like
Yeah.
two of the best Swedish players there have been in this era.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is one of my more Black Pill takes. I think this team is personally, I'll put them 13 to 16. I think that people are gonna underestimate these guys a lot, and I think with Skilla, Reedcat, Andros, and especially Phelan, I think those 4 players as a core is insanely good, and I think that they can easily win 2 matches.
Shiv, I originally thought otherwise, but I actually think you're right here. People still find a way to underestimate Scylla. Like, that guy is genuinely, like, he needs to be regarded as one of, like, the top tier tourney players in the game. Like, he is really freaking good. And they have D-ranker power as well with Phelan, and then obviously bringing back, like, Reedcat and Andros. Like, this team has it in them to win a couple of matches. So I'm going to agree with you, Shiv.
It's gotta go 17 though, because everyone
Yeah,
else will do that.
They have to
Yeah.
go 17 24th based on what we have currently, unless we want to move somebody down right now into 17 through 24.
No. The
Or
other
unless
teams
we
are
want to
Other-
move
like,
I
up
think they
the
just
other
go-
teams are stronger, so it's okay.
Yeah, I think they just have to go 17 24.
I
Definitely
don't
on
think
the
this
top
team
end
is
of that, though.
stronger than any of the teams in 13-16. That's basically my whole reasoning. Like, I think if I had to pick a team to move down, it'd be Italy or Hong Kong. Actually, Italy's already in 17-24,
Yeah, it'd
so
be
it'd
Hong
probably be
Kong,
Hong Kong.
People already know that
Yeah,
take is
but I think this team is
closely.
really good. I
Mhm.
think they're clearly way better than their roster last year, but it's hard to put them as a semifinals team, basically, because a lot of the other semifinals teams are just really, really good.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I can see a world where Sweden on a good day beat a team like Hong Kong. But yeah, I feel like it's a case of, they are like 17th. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. They're very, very solid team though, and getting their legends back is huge in skill and also moral, I imagine, because people are scared of these players they've brought back in. I can imagine some teams would be, intimidated by playing against Recat Andros, knowing how good they've been over the years.
And Scylla. That
Yeah,
guy
team
can
is-
that's
team
half
is-
of any map pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, team is
You
full of
see his scores, yeah.
Team is full of solid, like good but not great players. That's like this entire team. They're just super solid, but
Yeah.
nobody's like the standout, amazing top tier.
I think it's Scylla, but
All right, well, you can think that if you'd like. They're still going 17-24.
yeah,
Still
I
is
know.
very
I know.
good.
Okay,
but-
well, I mean, we ain't winning the war, so it's okay.
Yeah, only 2 believers here.
I'm a
I
believer
agree.
in
Skill is
Sweden,
very
man.
good. I just don't think I don't know how much it matters. But we'll see.
Unfortunately.
We'll see during the tournament. Switzerland next up. They were not 5th, 6th last year. I don't know what that's
the
about.
heck?
Oh, dude,
Risen, brother.
Risen?
What
I
a
don't know what he
year
was
they
looking at on that one. It's
Yeah.
okay though. It was probably my fault anyway because I did the back end stuff for that he was looking at. But so yeah, Switzerland didn't qualify, and
they were
they're,
in fact
again
the
not going
last
to
seed
qualify.
last year. They were 53rd. They were the bottom team in qualifiers last year.
They've got this. They lost Marcel 7, who's a pretty good leaderboard player,
Yeah.
and I don't really recognize any other new players.
Akani is good. but it's not
Akani is the
qualifying.
one for me as well. Yeah, solid player, but it's a 6-person team, and
Marcel
Yeah.
forgot to sign up, and
That-
really, like,
That's
they just
GG. That's GG.
That's
How
GG.
still
Oh.
happened?
Unlucky.
Okay.
really, oh my god.
All right, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's an easy one. All right, on to the next team. We're out of here with Switzerland. We're going to Taiwan now. 17-24 last year. They have Fast, Slow, Willie, Riser, Shirosora, Spines Knight, Tomochen, and Diaustrophism. Zane and Dazzlewind not playing
Guys,
this
like-
year. Thoughts on this roster?
This is
I'm,
gonna be
Dazzlewind is
extremely
huge.
debated. No
Yeah.
Dazzlewind.
I'm super black pilled about this team. think this is doomed based on what I've heard from
Yeah.
people. I
I've
think
heard that
they,
this team
their
is
their
doomed.
team is
Yeah,
just like
Noriko says
really
this
not
team's
in a
dead.
good
Noriko,
spot.
Noriko said put
Yeah,
this team 0-2. And I
Now
was like, okay, sure.
that being said,
Oh my
Noriko's like permanently a doomer about Taiwan
Yeah.
rosters, right? Like he always thinks the worst of their teams, but I still feel like we have to listen to him
Yeah.
anyway. Like they're gonna qualify. I think they do win one match. I think they get 17 through 24. I don't think they get 25 through 32. But
yeah.
I think based on what we're hearing, like I don't think they win more than one match.
It sucks. I was always a believer of this Taiwan
Yeah.
roster. Like, they have Shield, they have Riser, they have like Spines
Mhm.
Knight and like Flask. Like, this team is sick. Like, you give this team like Noriko, go back 3 years in time, and this team is like a contender for top 8. But it's just like,
Yeah.
it's
that's
kind
the
of
thing, though. You're going
it's
back
like-
3 years in time.
Yeah,
The current
like,
year is
they
2023,
haven't
and
gotten
everybody
better.
is twice as good as they were 3 years ago.
like
It's like,
Shield.
you have to
Shield
look,
tried to
yeah.
hyper carry, but like, I don't know, not anymore.
Yeah.
They've definitely got the ability to win a game. They've still got a
Mhm.
lot of ability in their team, but yeah, it's true. They've sort of stayed the same for the last few years, while most of the teams have improved a lot, and that's really the kicker. Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool to see. Cool to see a team like this. I mean, I was looking at the account ages because this is a boomer team. I think the youngest account here is 2017.
Oh my
So
God. Wow.
yeah, it's a team of OGs, but they've sort of stayed in one place for many years, and the competition is passing them by now. But they're
It's-
still okay. They're still
Yeah,
big
they're
fun.
good.
It's like there's 2 more teams that are coming up where I would put them in the 17 to 24 spot, but that's just me personally. And I'll try and give my
Yeah.
reasoning for them.
All right. Well, we're in 17-24 for Taiwan, so let's move on to the next team, which is Thailand instead of Taiwan.
Yeah.
Lesperi, their captain, Minecrafter, Arigato, Master, Kadama, Chess, Depiforce, and Freeze. No in before, no Phantasma this
Oof.
year, which
Yeah.
is definitely interesting changes, but they have Lesperi.
Not this.
DNQ is crazy.
This team
Lesperi
could-
is the wonder child.
This
73
team
to 24.
could have been so good, and then they just made their team not good. I don't understand what they did with their roster. Like, they left people off that should have been on that I think would have, like, they didn't
Yeah.
put Phantasma on, they didn't put In Before on, they didn't put Salvatore on. I don't understand what they're doing with this roster.
I mean, like,
I'm
on
sure
the
there's a
flip side,
reason.
I
but-
think half these players are extremely good. Adding Lesperi, adding Chess, adding Depiforce, like, these are some crazy additions, by the
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
And I think that
Yeah.
this is one of the teams where I was arguing I would actually have this over Taiwan. I think that people are going to be super surprised when Lesperi is going to have 950k average across the entire pool.
Yeah, no, Lesperi is actually like such a prodigy. Like, I don't think I've seen like a player with more promise. Like, he's the Victor Wembanyama of Osu right now. Like, you got to put all of your stocks in Lesperi right now. Like, this
Yeah.
guy is
Yeah.
crazy.
I was
They-
honestly
they-
float. Now go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, they subbed out like 3 of their best players in before Phantasma and Chifak Chep, and it just doesn't matter because all of the people that they are subbing in, like Lesperi and Chess and Depiforce, are all really, really good anyway. So I think they'll probably do just as well as last year.
Yeah.
And with how well Lesperi can carry them, especially like on a tiebreaker, for example, I think if you go to tiebreaker against Thailand early stage, you're losing. Like, I think this is that type of team.
Chess
like-
is such a good combo gamer.
Mhm. I think, like, you see to respect this team. That's pretty much it. Like, people are
Yeah.
saying, yeah, there's 3 players guaranteed that are super strong. There's gonna be 1 4th guy on this team that's gonna be sick at the game as well. Like, out of these,
Yep.
they're all 3-digit. Like, one of them is going to show up, I think, and that's why I have confidence.
Yeah, I was almost like I was tempted to put them one above. I was for a lot of the time on my little pre-prediction. I was putting them 13 to 16. I knocked it down a little bit looking at the other teams, but I was very tempted to put them there because they have some amazing players who will do well up to that stage and a pretty sick roster. But it almost feels like they could have been a little bit better, but it's still very, very solid.
Yeah.
Thailand are improving very quickly year on year. They're going up the Philippines route right now. Imagine what they're like maybe next year or even a couple of years from now. They could be really beastly the way they're going.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team. I think we've talked about Thailand enough. They're 17-24. We are moving on to Turkey. Raikaho, Clutchex, Gilrain, Orke, Shinkiro, Mikatsu, Levi, and Lyre. No Heironi, no Zephyrex this year, but they do have Raikaho.
That's
It's
big.
easy
Having
qualifier.
Raikaho is big.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Also, like, I'm just gonna put it this way: we need 2 teams still in 25 through 32, and this seems like one of them.
Guaranteed. I think this team is easily like I would put this on the high side of 25-32, and even they could win one match. Like obviously, people is like, wow, it's like Vico and like a bunch of like other players, but like if you pay attention to the scene, OK, Clutch X, and especially Shinkiro, these guys are crazy. And I'm putting them at 25-32 right now, but I think that 17-24 is easily possible. Like one match is doable.
Yeah, like they have a core 4, which is something that a lot of other teams in 25 through 32 don't really have. I think any map where you can put those 4 players in is going to be a danger to any team in those bottom 2 tiers. So, yeah, pretty much what Chiv said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'd agree. I think of this team similarly to Mexico, where they're a very reliable top 32 team. They do okay, and they have the ability to win a game. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Maybe this team's
Yeah.
stronger than Mexico though, because they say they have the core players to power through against versatile teams, right? To steal the odd point here and there in close matchups
Mhm.
like that.
But I think that if you want to debate a team that can go even further, this is one of them out of the 25-32 range.
Mm.
All right, so let's get Turkey in there for 25-32 next to Spain, and move on to some of the very last teams on the list. Ukraine, Magnata Gamer 123 with Dench, Raf GPO, Roman and Roman, 2 of the same username. Thank you for using 0 instead of O to just copy a username. OQ, I don't know how to pronounce that one, man. And Unable.
Yeah.
Good.
This is go good.
I don't know, like this is the team where you look at it, it's like, is this team really 25-32? I just don't think so. That's why I'm 17-24. Like you have your obvious carries in Dench and Poma, by far 2 of the strongest players on this team, and then you have Sharitori, you have Raf GPO, you have Magneta Gamer as fills. This team is going 17-24 at the minimum, dude. Like I think they're so good. And that's why I have them easily above some of these 70-24 teams right now.
We saw them be competitive last year up against some good teams. They took China to tiebreaker, and they've only
Yeah.
gotten better since then. Like, Raf GPO was seen as their best player from last year, and the fact that we're talking about people being better than him, like, you need to be on the up and up on this team. Like, Poma, that guy is ridiculous. Like, keep your eye on Poma. That guy
Which
in
one, Miles?
The-
Which Poma?
the first
The
Poma,
real
the
one.
top Poma. I can't believe we have like 2 like we have Poma and then Poma with a 0, and it's like the same with Defons on Brazil.
I hate it.
So okay, so if we assume that we're gonna just agree on 17 through 24, that means we do have to move somebody from 17 through 24, like right now.
I mean, I think you gotta
Also,
move
we
like
still need
Finland
a
down.
we still need a 9 through 12, and I don't know that there's anybody remaining that goes into
There
9.
is.
Let me look. Oh, there is. Yeah, you're right.
There is. Don't.
It's alphabetical order by country codes on the sheet that
I'm
I'm
telling
looking
you,
at.
like,
Yeah, I know who you're
just
talking
move-
about. It's okay.
I think you gotta move down Finland.
Uh,
It's either Finland, Taiwan, or Italy for me.
It's
I don't think.
I think of those,
yeah,
it's
I
probably
gotta move down
Finland.
Finland. I think I argued.
Unless you
25
really want to
to
see
Finland.
Brazil, but I don't know.
Mm.
No,
Yeah, it's
Brazil
tough.
stays. I think it's Finland to go down.
Yeah, like Finland's gotta go.
I think they're really
Yeah.
good, but it might be a bit rough compared to a lot
Alright,
of the other teams.
It is now fixed. So we are now full for everything except for 1 9 through 12, 1 first, and a couple DNQs.
And
Yeah.
the flags on the sheet are not updating, by the way.
Thank
so-
you. Yep, that's a Cavo thing. I don't know what
Yep.
exactly he's doing that it's having that problem, but whatever. But we go next because I think everybody knows who's next.
Who's next?
Who is?
I wonder who it could
next?
possibly be. What could come after U and K? There
the
It
UK.
are 2
the
teams.
United
There are 2 teams
Arab
coming
Emirates.
up. Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. There's 3 Uniteds this year, bro. Oh my God.
Okay, hold on. Let's.
All right, well,
let's
anyway,
clear-
Cabo
let's
will get
clear
this
the
Bait
fixed,
and
base.
yeah.
Let's
switch
get 'em
there.
going. Bit of a.
It's now a
bait and switch.
trifecta of United.
First year they're playing. I think first year they're
Yeah,
playing.
as far as I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the first year. I've definitely never seen a UAE team before. The
Yeah.
top 7 players in terms of PP ranking in the UAE. What are we thinking about this one? Solo
it's
players,
just-
not tourney play,
yeah.
Oh,
but
it's the. I mean.
This was the let's
I don't
make it,
know.
let's get people into the rank range so we can have a team and make a team and say we signed up for LWC and then not qualify. That's kind of how this
Probably.
goes. They yeah.
Also, apparently, half of their team cannot make their qualifiers time. So
Okay.
Oh,
That is
Yeah, they
not what
tried
we want to
rescheduling
hear.
it today, apparently.
That's
let me
not
have
what
some
you want
hope,
to hear.
Dio.
It's the
Oh my
DNQing.
god.
So
God
yeah,
damn
that
it.
does it for the UAE. Congrats on having a team. Now we move
Ugh,
on to our
hope.
second United team this year, the United Kingdom. Wait, why is Uruguay up next? Hello?
Oh, Uruguay.
What?
Okay,
we're
yeah.
going
we
Uruguay.
skipped
What?
the
How, do we just skip
Oh.
like?
We're getting baited so
Hey,
much.
are
What
we
the
getting
hell?
are we
I can't
getting
believe
trolled
this.
by
I'm waiting 3
Cavo?
hours.
You're getting trolled
Like
by
we have
someone.
to be getting trolled by Cavo.
We're going to Uruguay next, sorry, then.
Mhm.
All right, I guess
I
we're
guess we
talking
can do
about
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
That's fine.
I mean, I don't think they qualify.
No, I
and
don't
that's
think so
kind of
either.
that.
They got 6 players.
6-player
Is-
team.
I mean, it's
yeah.
definitely a firm upgrade from last year. Like, you look at the 3 players
Oh,
they
yeah,
traded
yeah, yeah,
for and out, like, it
100%.
is definitely a firm upgrade. It's still not enough to qualify.
They're bringing
I mean,
veterans. It's
yeah,
weird.
shout out.
This is a 6-player
River
team
Hawks.
that has a core 4 if they make it to bracket
Yeah,
stage somehow.
I mean, Danik, Kazuki,
That's
K,
so
Rebel,
weird.
and Plox just play every map, and Shike can throw a little bit. I don't even know who last guy's side, but I think that this team is really good on speed, and everything else is kind of okay. Hard Rock is okay, but yeah, it's just a 6-man team at the end of the day.
This is the best team without 8 players for sure.
It is
It's-
definitely like easily. These guys are like, if you look at 3-digit like tournaments, like all 4 of these guys are really active. Like Kazuki, Rebel, and Danik play actively, and like, well, I mean, Plox doesn't really play tournaments that much, but I feel like he'd be fine.
He's a veteran. He played
Mhm.
OWC many, many years, so he knows what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy actually. I would have figured a country like Uruguay would get a full 8-player roster, especially with the players they've got, the scene they've got. But
Yeah.
well, decent, but not enough depth, I guess.
Mhm.
All right. That
right,
is going to
well-
be it for Uruguay.
Now we have to talk about probably Vietnam, I guess.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, we're going backwards.
There we
All right,
go.
back into the
Okay.
Uniteds. It's the United Kingdom, and it's the return of Bubble Man.
This-
Yeah, the bubble is back. The bubble is
Mhm.
back. Dragging him out of retirement. He's working on laser, but we're getting him back on stable for another year. This
Like-
is probably the best UK roster since 2018. That's
Mhm.
without a doubt.
Like, this is the thing where it's like the biggest problem is like you're like, oh, this team is easily getting top 6, and then you look at the teams like, okay, who are we moving down? And then it's like, oh, it gets harder and harder, right? You can talk about, I mean, like, you look at 7th to 8th, and you have Russia in there. It's like, does this team really beat Russia? It's like, it'll be close for sure, and they can definitely win it, but like, I don't know, it's just so debatable. And yeah, no Listia on this year's OWC pool is going to be so rough because there's so many maps where Listia and Plasma will shred, but both of them are not playing. And like all these, like, I mean, they have Venoxia and Bubbleman back, but the gimmick roster just needs to be stronger, and Easy Champ, obviously.
Yeah, I think this is the hardest team to call maybe in the entire tournament. I'm putting them 9th through 12th here, but like, okay, hear me out. I'm putting them 9th through 12th here, but like, this is like the epitome of like a boomer bust roster, I think. Like, if all of these guys play at their best, like genuinely speaking, they could get like top 6 or even like top 4 if
Yeah,
they
easily.
play at their
Yes.
best. Like, Bubbleman is a top 3 tourney player of all time. Like,
Bubbleman
you
the
need to
GOAT.
regard him coming back in a similar way to Vaxe coming back. But like, I just don't know. Like, this is the
Yeah.
hardest team to call because on paper they have everything, but we just don't know if they're better.
I think the biggest thing with this roster is that it's a lot of unknowns, not necessarily unknown players, but unknown how they will perform in OWC, how the team will mesh, how the mental is going to go, right? When you talk about a team like Canada or like Germany or even Australia, these are teams that have either been together on OWC for a very long period of time, or they play a lot of community tournaments together like the Australian roster has done this year, and so they're able to build that camaraderie and show results throughout the year and show how good they are. That didn't really happen with a lot of players this year. Obviously, a Colibed being there for the UK is really big. But how this team meshes together in OWC is yet to be seen. I think 9-12 is an absolute bottom minimum placement for this team. I think 100% they make it to semifinals weekend. And from there, the sky is the limit. I think the skill cap on this team can easily bring them into top 4, even top 3 material if they are performing well. But it is hard to know how they will perform in comparison to how hard it is to know how other teams will perform when we're looking at them before the tournament starts. So I'm really excited to see how UK does, and I think they are semifinals minimum and can only do better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, to be fair, Dio. I think I'm with you on that one. I've put them quite high, and I think as well they could go really far in this tournament. They have players on this roster. I mean, I find one of the key ingredients when it comes to hitting that top 6 is having multiple players who are at least good, if not brilliant, at like any sort of map. Bubbleman is. Akalib can be, certainly. Easy Champ has been incredible this year. Incredible. Rudge has been incredible as well, and they've got some backup players. Kingling, Malteser on their mods are some of the best in the world, and even like Haunt as well. Venoxia, Ophies have been super impressive as well and coming into the roster. They have players that they can put in 3 players, maybe even 4 on a lot of maps, and they're just going to do well. They have crazy versatility, but as Dio said, depends on how they mesh together. And that will determine how far they go past semis, I think.
We can discuss swaps later. Like, I think if you really want to swap this team in a 7-knit, you can put down Philippines, but I don't think they're beating Russia.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, I think Russia's a 5-6 team, so like that's my opinion.
This team is tough to call. I'm seeing a team member in the Twitch chat saying top 12 is generous, so
yeah,
I mean,
but that's
you
a
never know.
troll, right? Wasn't that who I think it was?
It was Malteser,
Yeah,
but
don't
I
listen
do
to
know
that guy.
No one
he's
listen to
drinking for
Malteser.
qualifiers. He's drinking for qualifiers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I also
It
hear
doesn't
you
matter.
guys playing for
That'll
fun.
be
So like,
fine.
I really don't
Yeah,
know
I
what
mean,
to trust. Like,
yeah.
we'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see.
Well, we'll go 9-12 for now. We'll go 9-12 for now, and then move on to the third and final United team.
Yep.
The United States. 3 members
right.
from last year, Takedo, Bashiman, Rectagon, subbing out Munko, Fancy Lad, Decaton, Sawada, and Utami for Cheeto Blast, also known as Kama. I cannot believe he name changed to Cheeto Blast for OWC. Fiery Rage, Vaxay, Window Life, and Woodchi, rounding out the roster this year.
Oh, man.
USA.
All right, so can we just get this discussion out of the way right now? Like, why the fucking hell is Decaton not on this team? Jesus Christ, man. How are you leaving one of the top 3 tournament players in the USA right now off the team? I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
I mean, you know more than me, T1G, but I mean, again, it's the same as well, like, you know, you look at, say, if we're looking at the Germany roster, or why are they leaving out players like Shark or Smarty? There's a reason, because the players they're bringing in are that good.
Okay, so like the thing is, I don't know. So you're keeping Bashi, who I'm sorry, I love Bashi's skill set. I think it's really cool, but he was objectively the worst player on the team last year. Like, I don't think you can argue that. I'm sorry. It is just what it is.
Crazy, Steven, what the fuck?
Dude, okay. I can tell you
And
why.
Crazy.
That being said, you're bringing in some fucking incredible players. Kama's playing nuts. Vaxay Window Life is like the next guy for the USA, which she's gotten so good at speed as well as other skill sets. And then Fiery has just been like a backbone player for years. Yeah, people talk about his mental as being bad, but like the dude has been like a backbone player. He just goes in for stuff and does well on it. I know people like to talk down on him, but the guy has performed and he's got the results to prove it. And I don't think you can bet against the USA, much as I argue with their roster decisions to leave off Decaton, much as it sucks to lose Fancy Lad and Utami. I still think you can't bet against this team because of what they've accomplished over the years and the fact that they've proven year in and year out that no matter what they do, they're gonna win.
Okay. That's a lot, and you're pretty right. It's definitely like a little bit suspect that they're leaving off Decaden, because he got like 6 in their tryouts, I think. He's like getting top 6 in the MREC tournament right now as well.
He's
like,
facing Vaxay tomorrow.
Yeah, he's facing Vaxay, and let me tell you, it's gonna be,
which will be a very that's gonna be an interesting match.
It's gonna be freaking hilarious if he beats Vaxay. But
yeah,
I can tell you what I think it is, or I can tell you what half what I've heard, half what I'm inferring. What I've heard is they're trying to get more skill set depth, and that's why Fiery is on the team, because he's going to be a real backbone on the reading. You lose players like Fancy Lad and Utami, who are both in for reading, and they're bringing in a lot of speed players. So you want someone who's going to be a little bit stronger on the gimmick. And also, Kama and Decaton have a lot of overlap. And I think they wanted to prioritize Kama being on the team this year. Lots of good hard rock tech between those two players. Kama slightly outperforming Decaton in tryouts. So I think that was the rationale they were going with. But then at the same time, it's what you said. Like, Decaton is playing so well right now. It's odd, but I can see where they're coming from.
Like, all I gotta say is when Grand Finals hits and Grand Finals DT2 is Hong Kong at 1.75 speed, and you see everyone on South Korea drop 20k and everyone on United States between Woodchi and Window Life double FCing, like, you already know what's up, man. I think people obviously look at the strong points like Kama, like Backstage joining, but I think this double speed duo by Jacob and Window Life is going to be crazy good for this team. And I think that one of the biggest weaknesses last year is kind of just like they're winning every speed map. That's no question.
USA became a speed team as of like 2 years ago. I think they realized that after 2021, they realized that they couldn't afford to lose to Germany, or maybe after 2020. They're like, the only thing that can beat us in this entire tournament is Germany abusing speed. So they said, we're going and getting some freaking speed players for these rosters going forward. And now I actually think they overspec'd into speed, bringing Window Life and Woodchi and Rectigon, and already having like Kama Vaxe. Like, they might have overspec'd into speed this year, but I mean, they're going to dominate on it, so like, whatever.
Yeah. Let's talk about the two people who have them second, shall we? Because we have very strong cases for USA first. I think the betting man bets on USA first in OWC pretty much every year until proven wrong.
Yep.
But I think a lot of the roster changes are not necessarily upgrades, but side grades, right? Vaxe is Vaxe. He's returned, but he is not at his peak. And I think actually Rectigon's probably stronger than Vaxe right now as a tournament player, like overall.
Oh, easily. Like, I don't think that's a
Rectigon
question.
pop off.
Yeah, people. Yeah, Vaxe is in the weird era of not being the best player on a USA roster anymore.
Yeah.
And if I were him, I think be fine with that actually. Like, that's kind of a little bit of a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. And the only reason I bring that up is because I think a lot of the roster changes for USA are side grades, and the big roster changes for South Korea are upgrades, specifically in Flying Tuna coming back. And I think that makes enough of a difference where you can coin flip tails for the USA sometimes in grand finals. Yeah, South Korea is going to get absolutely railed on speed, but so is every other team in the tournament, right? You're just going to double ban speed against the USA and try to win as many other maps as possible against this team. That is the whole strategy, because I kind of agree. They overspec a little bit into speed. You've got Rectigon's very good at speed. Taquito can also be a very good speed player. Kama's really good at speed. Window Life and Woodchi are on the team specifically for speed. Window Life for a couple.
Well, Window Life plays everything. Yeah, Window Life's just really good. But Woodchi, and actually
Woodchi's there specifically for speed.
I think Woodchi is supposed to be good at like some like hard rock stuff too, right? From what I've heard, he's got some skill sets outside of just speed.
He's
even though that's
the
what he's
goat,
going for.
man. Like, Jacob is the goat.
Okay, but
he
here's
can
the
play
thing.
everything except
here's
meeting.
the thing. What hard rock maps does he play over like Rectigon, Vaxe, Window Life, Kama? So I don't know how much that'll matter on the hard rock picks. We'll see. Maybe the depth of roster on hard rock ends up mattering more for them, and that helps them take some breakpoints against teams like South Korea. But I do think it's closer this year than last year.
And last year was South Korea winning in semis and going to a pretty close bracket reset, even though the first set wasn't close in grand finals. So like closer than that is why you're putting them second, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like we just have to put them in first because like they have to go somewhere, but there's arguments you can make for like any of the top three teams in any of those three positions.
Yeah, I think Dio's second has gone more with his head. I've gone more with my heart, more hoping a bit because I can look at all the stats, but I prefer the Magic, and I refuse to bet for USA winning every year because that would be just the easy option. Because I was chatting a bit earlier, I pushed Poland to be second and now changed my mind and pushed them up to be first. Mainly because of the whole mental game, you know, Poland, USA. There's one thing to get into the minds of the US players, it's facing Poland again in the grand final. And I think as well, once you get to that extreme level of difficulty, US probably have more versatility in their roster because they have so much depth than Poland would, but Poland have a strong enough four. And I believe too hard in Malashevsky being so far ahead of everyone else. That's a big difference to make when, you know, you have one player on the roster FCing, whereas the rest of the team or the rest of the lobby might be getting, 500, maybe even 400k. It's more in hope than expectation that I'm putting them second here. But I think there's a world where they would lose in a Poland-USA final.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat, honestly, except on the other side. USA, I need them to get that 9 out of 10. We've got to make it to 2025, boys. Even if the world thinks you're the villain, I will always be here for you. I'm a real sports fan. I know when my team is winning, it won't win forever. So we got to keep pushing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Thank you guys for your input.
All right. After all that, there's one team, I think. Is it one team left? I think it's one team left.
It is one team left because we already did Uruguay, and so we have just Team Vietnam left. That is the
Last?
last one.
Last and unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately least,
yep.
because somebody needs to go in DNQ, and I don't think this team qualifies. So they did bring back a couple of solid players. Like I think Rilshin is pretty good, right? Boyd Delat is pretty good if memory serves, but like the rest of this team is kind of, you find yourself asking, who is this a little bit.
I've seen Hoaq talking on Twitter about how this team's just kind of chilling this year. They're playing. They're playing the game.
I
They
mean,
are
like,
playing the video
people know
game.
these guys are like a really good 4-digit tournament team or players. Especially a shout out to Wale and shout out to Rio Shin. I think these guys are really good. It sucks to see that Freedom is not playing. Really good hidden player on Vietnam. I don't think it's a qualify angle, but I do think that people should be. If you're looking at 4-digit players, like these guys are really good, especially the two I mentioned.
So I do think they'll be like in the top half of the DNQ teams. They're a decent team, just not quite top 32. Competition's too fierce this year, I think. And they have lost a couple key players as well. But they're still okay. 40, I think they'll do a bit better than 40, maybe just a bit.
Okay.
All right.
We made it. We
We
have
did
every
it.
team.
57 teams later.
57 teams
Okay.
later.
Let's do some rebrand. Is that if you guys are unhappy about before we don't take the screenshot yet. Like hold on, like so
Romania
let's talk
up,
about the
Indonesia
two-
down.
Yeah, Romania up and UK
Romania up,
up,
Indonesia
probably,
down?
right?
I
Are we
reckon
doing that?
Are we
UK
moving
should
Indo
be up.
down?
I don't know about you guys.
No, I think if you're
mean-
moving any down, it has to be. Oh, that's what gets hard, right? Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
it gets
no,
hard.
dude.
Right?
Chile is
know.
good, bro.
No, it's not Chile. It's either China or Indo, and you guys
I
can
think
pick.
it's,
I mean, I think it's-
maybe it's China. I don't know.
I guess China out of those two.
Dude, why are all the teams so good?
Dude, this is messed up.
Okay, all right. So like, here's my not hot take at all. Like, the tiers are so rough this year that like
Yeah.
wherever people get placed, there's a lot of fluidity between
Yeah.
like 5th through 8th, and then 9th through 12th, and then 13th through 16th. Like, anybody can go anywhere. And I think trying to
dude saying, "Get
reorganize
in
is
the
like super
VC."
troll.
But you say get me in the V.
No,
No, like don't get this
no,
guy in. Like don't get this
no.
guy in. He's gonna flame me. He's gonna flame
He's
me
gonna
for
flame
not-
all of us, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, why is Romania not top one?
But we
guys?
need some
Come on
content.
now.
How can you join?
I'm getting flamed for Romania and Russia and Germany. Yeah, that's where I'm getting flamed. But those are hot takes. We have to make
Yeah.
hot takes or else it won't be interesting.
Yeah,
I-
like Canada's top 3. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I personally think this
Yeah.
is as fine as it's going to get, because there are so many teams that are so close, because as the scene exists for longer, more countries get more players, and those players get better, and so they get just kind of closer together because everybody's improving. And that is my take on the matter.
Yeah.
Pretty right.
Okay. I think that's gonna be it. I think we're done.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that list. It's anything else moved around is completely subjective.
Yeah.
To be
it's
honest,
it's not my personal team, so obviously it's completely wrong.
yeah.
But we'll
UK
have to
isn't
live with
top
it.
4.
We'll have to live with it.
What the
Yeah.
hell, guys? I thought you were supposed to be experts on the matter.
All right, good job, team. Thank you, everybody,
Wow.
for watching.
Thank you for
Woohoo,
watching.
Guys,
Thank
you
you,
for
everybody,
hours
for
of
being here.
Please send them on Twitter. Thank you.
Qualifiers.
On Twitter.
Qualifiers are this weekend, so you'll see the official stream qualifier results reveal Sunday. Round of 32 starts next week, and you can begin to see just how wrong we are about all of these things very soon. So I hope everybody enjoyed. I hope you all enjoy the tournament, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully at some point, for
Yeah.
qualifiers, reactions, round of 32 predictions, all that sort of stuff going forward. Stick with Corsace and Full Circle, because we'll be trying to talk about the OWC a lot over the course of the tournament. But for now, I've been T1G. They've been Dio, Miles, Doomsday, and Shiv. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you,
watching.
guys.
And
Right.
thank you, hot shout out to Risen for doing all the graphic stuff late last night. We really appreciate it, because this would have been even more scuffed if he hadn't. So thank you to him. Everybody, have a good day, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Hi, everyone.
See ya.
Look forward to the
Goodbye.
Twitter flame.